What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. Another day, another season here of the SI Open Qualifiers. This is Open Qualifier number 2 for North America. We were on for APA last night, watched the OCE teams make it all the way, but man, it's been just a couple hours of sleep for us, and guess what? Glitter's still not with me today, but I brought in another familiar face and friend to the Siege Double Shot. Goose, thanks for joining me, bro.
Yeah, I'm hyped. I absolutely love qualifiers, especially best of ones, because absolutely anything can happen. And I think in this very first best of one, that's the definition of what we're going into.
Yeah, we have got, I think, around 5 rounds. And honestly, I thought we would see more teams here in open qualifiers. You could bring a 5-stack and make it to Paris for SI. Why not give it a shot, man? I thought we would see a ton of teams in the bracket today. It's only about 60 here in North America, and the unfortunate part is only one team will make it to closed qualifiers to try and take on Oxygen, DZ, Cloud9, and the rest of the Element 6 winners. So it's going to be crazy to make it into close, but only one team today is going to do it. And the team we're going to follow for the majority here is Nadeshot LFO, and they have a fantastic round 1 matchup.
Yeah, this is actually a rematch from last weekend's qualifier. It was actually Aimkey's team, now renamed to Business Catz, that beat Nadeshot LFO. And I mean, this is what I love, because if you're looking at a roster like LFO coming from the NAL, now Orgla's in a position where they have to play regulation or relegations, they now also have to play for their spot. And a lot of people thought, there'd be a very clear winner to qualify in week 1, but they didn't. And yet again, there is no second chances. If they lose here again, that is all of their chances for this entire year to potentially make it to Paris.
Yeah, the next big opportunity comes with the Challengers Series in March. We're going to have to get all the way through the SI and then set ourselves up for Challengers Series. So this is really the last big opportunity for any of the teams to really play a long, structured bracket here. And the problem is it's not even that long. We're going to see 4 rounds of play, 4 best of ones. Anyone can win. There's an awful lot riding on a single map, a single game. Let's talk about where we're going.
It's Chalet. This is such a dangerous map because it's not necessarily a bad map for either team, but it's historically a map where Aimkey rises, and he usually on most of his team is the player that needs to do well in order for his team to have success. Obviously, his roster is very stacked, but still, it's a sense where if you have Aimkey lacking behind, then the entire team also will follow suit. But on a map like Chalet, that should not be a problem.
Honestly, I was hoping, praying even, that we were going to get to see Fortress on one of these games. The problem is it's got to be best of ones, and it's for SI, and if you lose one game, the day is over. I think we're not going to see it today, which is tragic, but man, I was hoping for it.
Yeah, there's so many theories for Fortress, because the qualifiers, not even any of the regional finals, had Fortress played. So literally the qualifiers with a majority of teams not being tier 1. So it's difficult to really get a map like that.
Yeah, I think they want to play the standards. And speaking of playtime, it is time for Chalet, my friend.
I mean, again, this is a playground that both teams are so comfortable on. And I think that's exactly what you need in a scenario where you're in a best of 1. You need to play to your strengths. There isn't really a lot of room to adapt, to bring in previous, VOD review, counter strats. So you have to come in here, just play to your best abilities, enable your entry fragtors, have your supports there to back them up. And I think that's exactly what we're going to be seeing today. We have a zombie and a Ying being banned out first. Nothing really too surprising there. Again, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of surprises here on map 1. And I think just from the ban phase, it's already going to be stock and standard, ending things off with a Solus and Grim.
Yeah, we've really seen teams sort of like go back and forth on the attacker ban side? Do you go for the hard breaches? Do you try and get rid of that style of play? Or do you get rid of the cheese ops, the Ying, the Grims, and force teams to play more fundamental siege? And honestly, that's one of the things that I think Aimkey's team really likes to do. We talked about with them at Butler. We talked about this with the Akron team, that they like forcing teams to play fundamental because they're very good at defending against that. So easy for them. Get rid of the Ying, get rid of the Grim. And you can see a little bit of a pause there as we had a player crash right at the beginning. You know what? We're hoping that is going to be the end of the issues, my friend, because I think the game is back in. There it goes, brother. Perfect freaking timing.
Oh, I love this. Usually, like on my other streams, I would have to wait like 30 minutes, but no, we just go right to it. I absolutely love it. One thing though, I am a little bit worried about for Business Cats is they don't have Twist, and Twist was a huge contributing factor to their success. Obviously, with all of his experience, even had a couple of good maps and rounds against his ex-team in Envy when they played them in the best of 3 for a qualifier spot. So not having them, obviously slotting in Lecky, I think is a fantastic player. He is still a little bit new to the competitive scene, at least this high of a level. So he's still trying to get his foot into the door. But again, I think he has a lot of potential that maybe he could show here on Chalet.
Yeah, another one of the console crossovers where like he spent a lot of time playing the console comp scene and is one of the other guys that sort of made this transition over to the PC comp side. And honestly, we talked about this a bunch yesterday with the console stacks. Is there's only so much you can go. There was a ton of the Rival Roller Series, Roller Sunday tournaments where you could win a lot of money, but to make it up the tiers, like you said, yeah, it's time to make the switch, and they have been very successful overall. Lots of big names making that transition. And appreciate everybody that's joined us in the chat today to watch the games play out. We try and follow Nadeshot as well throughout this entire day, because honestly, we want to see this team make it into this SI LCQ closed qualifier.
Yeah, something that you don't really see a whole lot of qualifiers is both teams playing a lot with that utility fence, getting a lot of early control over by top Mez. This position is purposely left open by the defense. So for now, aside from that little bit of a ghost ping onto Aimkey, who's all the way inside of mud, no immediate pressure onto that player. So a very good effort from the defense to just kind of play cat and mouse here.
Yeah, spending a little bit of time working, setting this thing up. Now, one of the things we talk about, it feels like a lot of the time with the new teams to comp is they're either playing way too slow, or they just sort of rush in. And we're expecting Nadeshot certainly be the team that is a little bit more balanced. And right now, working this part of the fundamentals of Siege right. Use the Thatcher, open up these sight lines, gain access to the top floor, force the players out of office, make the transition down. But man, that was just perfectly played there. I love the interactions with Thatcher and the way that he sort of changed up the game to the point that I feel like we're going to see him banned out more often.
Devin or center just waiting for the opportunity to make his way into that half-wall player, but the player playing onside of blue stairs, they know that that opportunity isn't as safe as it seems. Rotating over, trying to get that wall open, trying to attack multiple different points, but
whoa, bless.
A nice shot onto center. It's going to take the shield off the board. That's the very first pick from Business Cats. Another one on Aimkey going for that flank, but it's Benz who eventually does punish him. They worked that kill for 1:30, and they were finally able to find it, but they don't have full control of this top vertical. It's something that you direly need for that plant to go down. They understand that there's still pressure here. Epic with another kill on Tazur. That's going to help them quite a bit just outside the cups. He's sending Eddie in to try and get that plant down, but you still have to worry about Demira on her window. Lecky with one on defense. It's Scoob down. It's a 3v2. It's all up to Bless alone in the 1v3. But they don't have pace. Eddie, he starts to put it down. Bless from above. What can he do? Nothing. It's Epic to shut him down. It's Nadeshot LFO for the very first round.
Yeah, I was worried there we were seeing them take a little bit too long to work this piece of it, and you still had, from a Business Cats defense, 2 players still holding onto the vertical upstairs. The Nadeshot players had made the transition down. They rushed in, and I thought that was the end of the attack, but the fact that they still had the diffuser in hand and lucky shot or great shot there, depends on the way you look at it, gives them the boost and forces Business Cats into a retake as that plant was going down. So it was pretty close to winning on time, but overall, right at center, Devin, one of those guys that is a legend on the shields, known for great shield play, and stalled out a bunch of time running the Blackbeard. This time, at least showing it initially, but good for just helping manage the pace of this game. So the attackers win first floor downstairs on the kitchen dining side, transition over and now see Bar Gaming.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing where you saw in that round, not only was Business Cats playing very individually, they were also playing very slow, allowing for Nadeshot to just literally sit over by top bed for a minute 30, do absolutely nothing. I mean, if you go up against any other team that has either more experience playing together or is more aggressive, that is a round already lost before you even hit the bomb site. Whether or not it's something that Business Cats are aware of, it's more than definitely something that Nadeshot understand and will try their best to take advantage of.
Yeah, 100%. And oh no, one of the things that we talk about a lot as well is, right, how much external pressure, how much extra defensive, chances are you going to take, risks are you going to take, and AIMKey's certainly known for it. And LeBron pulls one off, taking the spawn peek outside, putting Nadeshot down a man to start this thing off within the first 5 seconds. You know what? I think they're going to be approaching the building just a little bit more cautiously, because that's, most teams don't play with that level of confidence coming out on round one. But you said it early on, best of one, single elimination brackets. Yet you can't hold anything back now.
Yeah, and that's absolutely something that AIMKey or another one of his teammates need to do. You need to play aggressive. You need to waste as much time, because if you give Nadeshot even just 5 seconds, that 5 seconds can determine a round in their favor. No immediate trade from the attack. It's just them working the building, trying to work this extension all the way over by Library. Cube all the way down. A lot of roam pressure here from Business Cats. A really good understanding of that facet.
Yeah, and at this point, they're not throwing bodies here at this attack either. They're holding the power positions, just waiting, holding back. And honestly, great call in the DMR meta. We're seeing Fens running the Glass. The rise of him being Glass bans at the end of Year 10 Season 3 and so far in Season 4 is wild. I never thought we would see so many Glass bans, but just so good with the way that the current attacking meta is, with the DMRs being powerful and a lot of utility being used.
The raw aura from Bino. This off, trying to find the player in top blue, but it's actually center on Dessert. That's an even trade back, but you're still in a one-man deficit. 50 seconds to work with center with another one. Can the Glass find it? No! Lecky's able to get him down. It's Bino in an unofficial 1v3. He is going to be able to get his teammate back up. The center so low on health. Do they even have the hatch inside of Library open? I'm not sure they do. Bino, he does have the case in his pocket, but little to no info. Scoob, he's going to rotate his way over to dining. Lecky understanding that he needs to play his position as passive as possible. Center, he has a semblance of an idea that Scoob is over here, but he's just not able to find the shot.
Great
Scoob
shot.
With the PSG. He's able to find it. It's Bino. 18 seconds left. The DMR on his hip. What can you do? You can find Scoob. 2 more. Lecky and AIMKey. The young all-star duo, and it's Bino. It's been here many times before, but it's AIMKey with the better gun.
Yeah, the defense just ready, waiting, holding, knowing where this attack was finally going to push from. And in a 2v1 scenario, the Business Cats close out that round, managed to find one there on the first floor. So where they're going to rotate to second floor, play the first floor again. They're going to try the basement, and to me, it certainly feels like, Glitter and I talk about this all the time, that the basement feels like there are so many avenues to try and attack that it has sort of fallen out of favor with the competitive players on Chalet. But you know what? With some of the changes that we've seen in this season, and the fact that now you're seeing the hard breach denial operators make it through the ban phase more frequently, seems like it's seen a little bit of a rise.
Yeah, it is kind of a sense
Attackers have
where
located
there
a bomb.
isn't necessarily a huge change in this current meta that, kind of mixes things up, but it's those small micro changes, like Mute not being able to deny a majority of those hard breach is going to not only remove a lot of his use, but also allow for teams on the attack to get those walls open a lot more. And that's something that I would be worried if Business Cats didn't have a Cade, Bandit, and then on top of that, Blessed with the Tuber out. They have so much utility. Even if Nadeshot is able to get all the walls open they want, they're going to waste so much time doing it.
Wasting time, the name of the game on the defensive side of this, and how much time can they burn here from the attackers? And again, it does feel like they are moving just a little bit slower, approaching the building. Imki put them on notice at the beginning of round 2 there. So as we're starting to figure out which is the way to pull it off, I love the fact that Thermite's picked up that third exothermic. Certainly made the hard breach operators a little bit more viable across the board. But whether it's the Hibana moving a little bit faster with the reloads, Ace no longer affected by the mutes, and 3 from Thermite, I mean, they're almost guaranteeing you're going to get those walls open without a significant investment from the defense. And they've got a couple pieces in play, but certainly the double hard breach denial is the thing that's likely going to keep that wall shut down and going to force this attack into working very hard to clear those pieces of utility.
Yeah, center being the main spearhead. A lot of people questioning on why this roster would pick up center, but in kind of the current tier 2, tier 1 talent pool, center is probably one of the better shield players, and that's something that they really struggled with inside of the NAL. So picking up center, trying to fill that hole of the shield. And so far, he has done good. We've even seen him use his gun a bit with that DMR. But again, flexing back onto this Monty, trying to clear a path. And yet again, a sense where there really isn't anyone playing in the faces, trying to aggress on Nadeshot, but yet they're wasting time.
I mean, we're talking about more than halfway through this round already. A minute 20 left. All 10 left alive at this point. They're still working the vertical piece of this. Gain a little bit of sight line into the main the snowmobile area, but I mean, still feels like it's just kind of moving slow at this point. Yeah, they're going to burn the Goyo canisters, and that's going to eat up a bunch of time. But man, get on this a little bit quicker. All right, well, just go ahead and kill all the defenders. Never mind.
A really good flank there from Eddie. Aimkey and Lecky are the only ones left. Zur is going to be able to find one. And it's just Lecky in the 1v2. He is able to kill center, so that is the shield off the board. Is he going to be able to find the head of Eddie on stairs? I'm not sure he does. Even if he does, he has Dino right outside that breach. The running from that Cade more than likely heard. The flashbang goes out. Nadeshot, they know what to do. They're trying to play it as safe as possible. Like he's still blind, full sprinting up the stairs. Can you find him? No, you can't. It's Eddie to finish it off. He had a huge play, shutting down that flank, and is the person to close it out. And Nadeshot LFO on the attack of all things, taking a 1-round lead.
You know, it feels like Chalet has moved, and several of the maps moved into attacker-sided because of the changes that have certainly buffed the attack in general. So, and obviously, right, if you're just coming in and not familiar with either of the teams, Nadeshot is the LFO team previously in Pro League for Stage 1 and Stage 2 after earning that spot and continuing through, but they're part of the relegation crew. They're going to need to earn their spot in Challenger Series, and obviously didn't earn enough points to earn a spot directly into SI, so they're fighting for that. And on the Business Cat side, yeah, you check out those names. Combination of the Akron R6 team that have been so successful in the T2 area, stacked it with a couple great players, and this is a hell of a round 1 matchup, and it's honestly kind of tragic that only one of these teams is going to move forward and the other is going to have to sit out and watch the rest of the bracket.
Yeah, I really like this matchup because you have Nadeshot. I mean, you have players that have not only been in Pro League for a decent amount of time, but also players who've been in the Tier 3, Tier 2 sphere for, a really long time. And then if you look at Business Cats, you've got a lot of newcomers. Obviously, Aimkey, he's been around the block. He's played at every element. But players like Lecky, Zur, Bless, now just making a name for themselves, like they've been playing for a while, they've been doing really good as of recent. So So it's kind of, you know, a clash of, you know, the old and new stars of recent, and it's something you absolutely have to love.
Yeah, this is the piece of Siege that it's great coming into the T2 T3 area. And look at this, they're gonna take down the castle barricade to go for the spawn peak. Holy cow! What a crazy play! That certainly seemed like it was not worth the risk versus Nadeshot. I'll be honest, but you know what? You know what? Take that shot, LeBron. Let's go for it.
Yeah, you know, I agree. I think you need to play silly. You need to play, like, over-aggressive, because that's something that Nadeshot isn't necessarily going to expect. Epic here. He could be changing everything. Actually, almost took a couple of shots from Aimkey on that window. Lucky right outside that bathroom window. They're trying to apply much pressure on this highway position. Eddie's going to cut off that doorway with one of those doors, but it's Aimkey with the opening on defense. Another one on DeVito, but...
Great answer back.
Center. They're able to stop Blue bleeding just for now. Epic down on the ground, but they have a ping onto a player. Moving by top stairs. Bless, he's better of it. He jumps down, almost loses his life, but he's setting up these steps, trying to find both players on both teams down inside a bathroom. No information whatsoever. It's going to take a little bit of a retread here for Nadeshot.
Wow, a hell of a play there to be able to take down the defender and at the same time pick up your teammate. Puts us into a solid 3v2 with a minute 20 left. Great play there from Nadeshot. They were in the better position to be able to pull that off. And still a ton of utility. Eddie's got 3 of the Raura down panels in pocket ready to go. On the other side, Scoob, a pair of those, the canisters still ready to pull off some area denial. So they need to bait out that utility and get busy about it at this point. They have the diffuser. Eddie's got it, so they're in a position to plant. And so far, Nadeshot's been very successful with the objective-based gameplay. They got it down on 2 of the 3 rounds early.
No, Eddie doesn't just almost lose his life. Trying to apply pressure onto Bless. Center, he's going to be able to finish that out. They got a little nice shot on the Scoob. More than likely, does not make it out alive. But it's Center, the player they picked up to play Shields, actually finds success in Sophia.
Yeah, getting to meet them and Devin and the rest of the guys at the T2 finals in Philly last weekend was fantastic. Yeah. And it was unfortunate they didn't pick up a win there with the CLB team, but he had already secured his spot here on the Nadeshot team. So big congratulations to him. But you know what? Still got to make it through this bracket before the full GGs are in hand. It was a great time getting to hang out with those guys.
Yeah, you know, I think everyone in the tier 2 scene, even the tier 1 scene,
attackers need
are
to
just
locate
so
and defuse
nice.
as many
If you
bombs
ever
as
get
they
a
can.
chance to just walk up to a player and say
Attackers
hello,
have discovered
even
the
if you know
location
you're
of a
not, you
bomb.
know, that tight knitted, you're just simply a fan who watches. Just do it. I mean, I think even when I was younger, about like 4 or 5 years ago, I was scared to walk up, but there's something. So if you ever get the chance, definitely just walk up and say hello. Because I mean, these people are also just humans too, so it is really great. But business Catz, I think the best way that we can put it is so far they've been playing like they are human, consistently making mistakes. Nadeshot also doing a really good job at really adapting and using those mistakes for their own benefit. Business Catz just playing too isolated, and Nadeshot, they take those for easy picking.
As we get into start of this round, you know, there's a story we're gonna have to talk some more about. But during that Philly LAN, I got the chance to be the DD there for the CLB team, and not the designated driver, the designated dad, to help them get into an event post of the games because, well, I'm the Unk of Siege, my friend, and it's a pretty funny story. I'm gonna post it on Twitter later.
Oh my God, I can already see it. That sounds hilarious. I cannot wait for that. And again, you know, Center flexing back onto the shields. I really appreciate how even when he has success on a player like Sophia, he can immediately flex onto a shield on a bomb site where you really need it, when you need to apply a lot of pressure, and this is probably the perfect opportunity. All 3 players on this top floor are completely isolated, just far enough for this Blackbeard to have an effect. Lucky trying to draw as much attention as possible. Scoop running outside the building. They're trying to make sure that they get some kind of bait, but it's the nade from the Blackbeard for the opening onto Bless. That's that kill corner inside of Library gone.
Yeah, that certainly gives this attacking team a lot more flexibility to operate upstairs. And yeah, you've got Aim Key downstairs playing in the like sort of moving between games, moving in between stock. And yeah, the observer's showing us where that nade managed to bounce to. So they still got the mirror window that they need to deal with on the top mez and don't really have anything to try and pull it off besides a pair of nades. But man, Zer's back and forth. Dodges the nades, but throws away his life as he opens himself up to Bino. That is unfortunate, and man, Lecky goes for a little bit of run out, and Eddie is ready for it. They're dismantling the business Catz right now.
Yeah, I mean, it is just really difficult scenes. I talked about that over-aggression, trying to play a little bit silly, almost a clown show, but Nadeshot, they're not laughing. They're taking advantage of this opportunity. Scoob on the flank, though. Doesn't look like they have enough information to know that he's here. 5 people still on the board. Bino takes out Amy, so now it is literally all up to Scoob. He gets a couple of shots. He's able to find Epic.
Oh, miss.
Are you aware of the player right behind you? A Blackbird in front of you. There's nothing he can do. Eddie, yet again with the closer. And Nadeshot. They make sure that they at least get a winning half.
Now, we didn't talk about the bans, and it came through so quick that, man, the Glaz ban said it doesn't happen very often. Crazy to see how good he was in the DMR meta and then banned. It's shocking to me that we're seeing Glaz bans after what we went through in year 9. At 8 and 9 coming into year 10, so kind of crazy. And Aimkey losing the Valk, I don't know whether or not that was a big piece of why they can't put a good defense together at this point, but that's Nadeshot. 3 rounds in a row, managed to take basement and both of the first floor sites on attack. So where's that lead business, Catz? All right, now try and play that second floor site. Whether or not this is going to be the difference maker, yet to be seen. But I love the fact that we're seeing Scoop run the Denari. There have been so many great Denari setups, and there's a pretty cool one that goes over top of the little bar wall and piano there to cover both the bathroom and the piano windows. And honestly, love the geometry here that starts to get set up just around the map.
Yeah, the skill ceiling for this operator, I mean, in my opinion, is endless, but the problem with that is it's also a really hard operator to consistently be good at. It's kind of a thing where you just have to get repetition. You just have to know the placements. You have to know the abilities of, where you can place it, where you cannot. But, I mean, again, it can just cut off entire rooms just with 3 to 4 of them. But, I mean, there's a lot of utilities here to clear. You have in total 6 nades. I was going to say 8. One of them's gone, so now it's about 6 or 7. Epic still has one inside of his pocket. But again, this is overall a lineup in Nadeshot. It allows them to be very flexible with their utility.
Yeah, that is a great point. Flexibility here is really working with them. And I feel like we haven't seen a very super consistent lineup. They're flexing operators, like you mentioned, back and forth. Besides Devin, center really being focused on the shields. I mean, they've have a lot of options available on this roster. And you take a look at how much utility denial they've got here on the solar windows, combination of the Denaris, the Aruni gates. I mean, you have to try and clear all of that out before being able to make the push in. And they do manage to get it, and no way. He is going to get the plant down so quick. It thought all of the electronic utility was enough, and it wasn't.
Aimkey's able to find one. He gets the man advantage. Fens with an equalizer back. Fens with 2, but Lecky, he's going to shut him down for now. The flank up from Zer is good for at least 1, but a Blackbeard for center. This is the player that you want to have. Lecky hiding. What can you do? You can do just enough.
Wow!
Huge clutch from Lecky and Zer. We asked what he could do, and he could do a whole lot, helping his castle to safely get that plant down.
Wow, what a way to close out the half. Finally, the business cats show up and manage to pull off one. So it was the second floor, but honestly, it was on the back of some great gameplay. They allowed the diffuser to go down in what felt like the first 30 seconds of that round after clearing out the top of solar. I mean, center just went in, crushed it, and got the diffuser down, but business cats showed up to retake and win that round. So they managed to pull off 2 on defense. If you want to call Chalet attacker side, then it's a standard split, even though Nadeshot was clearly the better team throughout that entire first half of the map.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a sense where I do think Chalet is starting to lean towards the attackers just a little bit, but don't get me wrong, that wasn't just an attacker side of Chalet. That was just Nadeshot playing a lot better than Business Cats. And, we can really, rant about, how bad, how many mistakes that Business Cats did. But at the end of the day, it was Nadeshot, the ones able to not only take advantage of those, but put up a really fast game. Those last 2 to 3 rounds, consistently just upping the pace for Nadeshot, and that's something that Business Cats were never able to really adapt against.
Yeah, and there is a little bit of a tech pause coming out here. Lecky's having a little bit of an issue, so it's relatively short though, just about a minute, so no big deal. I think it's a good opportunity. Again, we'll just if you're just joining us, welcome in everyone. Thanks for being here for the SI Last Chance Qualifier. This is the opportunity for teams to earn their spot to go to Paris. Honestly, really, all you needed
Yeah.
was a 5 stack in challenger mode, and you could win a spot to Paris. It is a long road, though. Not only do you have to fight through the open qualifier bracket, which is single elimination, best of ones, honestly insane. Then you have to fight through the closed qualifiers. Take down the top 3 Pro League teams that didn't get an invite to SI, plus the winners of the past 2 elements, and the teams that won last weekend. So, that's it. Can you take down all those teams? Ticket to Paris is punched.
Yeah, and I mean, and we could talk about, how your average Joe can come in and qualify, but we're looking at a team here who is essentially from Pro League. Obviously, they're in that relegation spot, so they're not playing in the big leagues just yet anymore. But this is a team that you expect to at least make the close qualifier, especially with all of their experience. And a lot of people, again, I think had question marks around center. I think he does make this roster more even ended. Now, the question is, does it make the roster better? That's something only time will tell, or I guess this weekend will tell if they make closed or not. But I think this 4-2 setup is a really good position for Nadeshot to, kind of keep that momentum going because if they lose here on Chalet, their chances are over.
Yeah, I mean, literally, because it's a best of one single elim. That is it. Done and dusted at that point. And I think you make a good point that center adds something to this roster that hopefully is the piece that's going to help them make the transition. And I like the fact that they didn't go
Attackers need to
wholesale
locate and
changes,
defuse
right?
bombs.
It's one of the things that I think NA and
Attackers
to a
have
smaller
discovered
extent
the
the EU
location of a
teams
bomb.
are known for is roster jumping like crazy. And I think that's one of the reason that like FaZe and W7M Furia were so successful for so long is like that FaZe roster had been together for more than 2 years unchanged in terms of the players on that roster. They were locked in and committed to making themselves better as a 5 stack rather than constantly trying to switch which players were
10
on that
seconds to
roster.
go.
And the fact that we can keep some NA teams following some of that same
5 seconds
methodology,
left before
hold
insertion.
on to most of your team, make some small adjustments if you absolutely have
Attackers
to,
are
but
moving to defuse the
right,
bomb.
stay together, get better as a team overall, and I think that is a strategy that's going to be very successful. It's one of the reasons why I think Nadeshot has got the advantage coming into this match, even though the Business Cats have got some great talent on that team.
Yeah, I agree. I think talent can only get you so far, especially since this is literally a pug stack roster. Aimkey put out a tweet, "Hey, I don't have a team. Anyone want to play?" Like literally 3 days ago. So obviously, I think a lot of these teams or players rather have some experience playing with each other. They are friends. They are acquainted with each other, but they don't have that experience. So those problems that are going to crop up of not being able to play together, uh, you're not going to be able to fix that in an instance because you don't know either why it's happening or sometimes that it's even happening whatsoever. And I think that's the best way to really spin that first half grenade shot. Those small problems were not really something that caused round issues because it was something that they've dealt with before.
Yeah, totally agree. The way that they've managed so far is still great plays. Diffusers down, right? Losing a couple good shots to the Business Cats. We're not talking about fundamental issues. That's just tweaking at this point. Playing very good so far. And we're going to see this, the end of the first floor site come out. Certainly the rise of the first floor on these, or the mid-floor sites, we'll call it, on these 3-floor maps. Again, it favors teams that play vertical really well, which is one of the things Nadeshot was very good at. But, man, look at that. The shotgun coming out, but walks into a full white flash.
Oh, no! He's not able
No,
to
no
find
way.
Epic.
Are you kidding me?
Leo is downed, though. Center with one of his own. It's just up to Blessed Scoob. Now just Scoob alone.
Oh, no.
And it's downtown from center in a flawless round to start off the defense. Nadeshot. They have a mission, and they're not going to let it slip.
Okay, I was wondering whether or not we were seeing the attacker-sided Chalet come in. We saw some great plays from Business Cats show up, but apparently that little bit of a pause was what Nadeshot needed to lock in. That round was dominating from the defensive side, and Business Cats seemed like they were struggling a little bit. So, all right, time to lock in, my friends. You can pull this off. Turn it into a game. Do you want to take down the pros? It's honestly the last opportunity. Here we are.
Yeah, I mean, this is their last opportunity. If you look at the side of Business Cats, it's not really
located by attackers.
You're not going to be mentally in the dumps. This is a roster that you made just a couple of days ago. This is just, in a way, a fun time on a weekend. Something to just, fill that emptiness during the holiday break. But for Nadeshot, on the other hand, I don't want to, necessarily spin it as their jobs are on the line, but it does put them in a really good position going into Challenger Series. It's going to give them practice that they necessarily wouldn't have otherwise. And you get a shot, no matter how small it is, to go to every player's dream of SI.
There was some of the questions coming out in the chat regarding servers, and it's one of the things that sort of popped up as a part of this league in general, is that there are issues with Central, which is the default server for all of the NA SI LCQs in the Blast rulebook. So Central is default. The problem is Central is having some problems right now, globally, worldwide, for Siege, and it seems that you can't actually host a game on those servers. So teams have to choose and agree on which server that it's going to be hosted on. For us, it was East. Both teams agreed relatively easily, and admins call on which server it ends up being if there is a disagreement. So, yeah, Central right now, a bit of a problem, and that is unfortunate that you end up having to play a tournament as big as the SI LCQs down a server, but you know what? What can you do?
Yeah, you can't really do anything. Then there's no reason that you can quote a server as being the issue for Business Cats. You just have to play a better game. You have to meet Nadeshot in those 1v1s, those gunfights. That's honestly where they're losing right now. Is they're just losing pivotal gunfights. Scoob, though, somebody who doesn't have a gun on his hip right now, clearing a lot of space over by Fireplace. Stairs. It's actually center, though. Pulling the C4 out. Doesn't miss, but it doesn't do enough damage to kill him. Center over, peeking just a little bit. He's going to be punished for that. Isn't aware of Lecky. Aim key doubling it up. And they turn nothing into a 5v3.
Wow, kind of crazy there that it felt like Nadeshot just rushing in, running, and Business Cats absolutely punishing them for that in that round. Holy cow, what a turnaround that this team had. Boy, we said to lock in. I didn't think they were actually listening to us at this point, but man, the Business Cats showed up there on round 8 after getting destroyed on round 7. That was a hell of a good round, and if you only saw that round, you'd think that this thing is going to be lopsided in favor of the attack. So back and forth battle, bit of a roller coaster here on round 1 game.
I mean, in all honesty, if Business Cats can continue playing like that, it is going to continue, or start rather.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Already bringing the Clash out, bringing that Denari out, and then Epic. It is just, this is a lineup that is the definition of denying space from the attack. to Rudy to cake it all off top. So this is overall just a lineup that is trying to slow down Business Catz as much as possible. Able to not only get a lot of space, but it was relatively not a default, but it was a small, instant attack onto that library position and the bomb site itself. They didn't really do a huge clear over by Office and Master. And that's something that I think Nadeshot understand, and they don't want to allow the attack to have the opportunity to do 2 times.
Yeah, that's a good point. Try and shut that down, block it off from happening twice in a row. Yeah, good call. I like the fact that you said bringing out the Clash at this point again. I mean, Center is just one of those guys that's so good on the shields and is ready for it. And ever since the Clash buff, I think she's certainly increased in utility. And when you see the attackers ban the Mira, right? Clash sort of functions as that mobile Mira anyway. I think there's a lot to be said that potentially a better op overall than the Mira. So if the team bans Mira, they're almost giving you a gift if you've got a team, a player that is skilled on the Clash. So I think that boosts Nadeshot just a little bit going into this round. But, you got to win some of those 1v1 gunfights. That last round absolutely went all in the Business Cat favor.
All on his lonesome. Trying to find success away from his team. A little bit of a lurk here. Eddie is the closest player. He isn't an inch away, so unless he's going to have to do a little bit of walking. Epic just staring at the face of Scoop inside a library. The diffuser in hand, but he's not trying to kill this player. Bless, are you aware of Eddie? On that Denario, the DMR in his hip. Another DMR on Zur. Looks like actually one was able to get onto this area. Stairs. Benz is taking a lot of damage.
Wow.
But it's Aimkey and Scoop with the pistol on his hip to shut them down. Eddie is still inside of Kitchen. I am not entirely sure if the attack is aware of this, but he's completely isolated. But he is able to make his way back up to the 2nd floor.
Yeah, it felt like a little bit of an unnecessary interaction downstairs, which is well played there by Bless. And all of the trades happening back and forth. They've netted this Business Catz attack a little bit of space, so they've got all of the control over on the library side. Now trying to push in to Office. And right now the diffuser is going down, but Devin, Center, is just locked in, taken down by the DMR, and holy cow, the attackers just cleaned this thing up. As soon as the Clash goes down, that was it.
Hello? Solarium guy, what are you doing? This is where you start to fall apart. And something that we haven't had the opportunity to talk about is 2 things. One, you know that things are going crazy when my voice starts to crack. And second, is Nadeshot's mental capability is not the best. That is why they lost a lot of games in the NAL. That's why they were unable to finish things off last weekend. And the fact that not only you lost 2 rounds back-to-back to relatively a similar thing, they did do a clear away from the bomb site, but you just let one player with a DMR outside a balcony just completely deconstruct your 3-man crossfire. And the player all the way over on Solarium apparently is on Mars. That is going to be a mental killer. And Nadeshot Help is not a team that is notorious for coming back from these mental up games.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Unfortunately, I got to agree with you. That is something that it felt like we're sort of struggling with at this point. So if we took, I was trying to find the looking back to the LCQs, where did we see this Nadeshot team end up versus the 2012 Miami Heat, which was Aimkey's team. I was going to say LeBron. They played it on Lair, and it was 7-4 to Aimkey's team. And LFO really pulled off a couple great rounds in that, but at the end of it, Aimkey's team won 5 rounds in a row to completely crush Nadeshot in that round. And that was one of those games where it was like, man, they looked so good at the beginning and then fell apart. It sort of speaks to the mental piece that you're talking about. We don't get a chance to hear all the comms directly because we're still entry level at this point and don't have all the comms set up that the pros do. But the fact that they struggled so much as soon as they started to lose a couple rounds is something that certainly needed to be addressed. And That's the big question for me, is which part of the team are we going to see here? But no way, that is a long trip connector, and the impact EMP completely misses.
Oh, but Eddie, the 1v2 of Bliss in his face, and he's able to win it out. Still not clearing him. Lecky just inches away from that defender, but he can't get to him. There's a wall and a rock right in between. If he jumps in, that's yet another easy kill for Eddie. And all he has to do is sit here. Even if he dies, he's wasting enough time. He's got Fens coming over to support him. But Fens going back down to the bomb site. Understanding that he doesn't need to support his teammate, but Zur, he finds Fens, and now Eddie all alone. This could be a potential 3v3 in the making.
Yeah, making a little bit of noise, but good trigger discipline on the Nadeshot side, and Bino wins that battle, waiting for the right moment. Doesn't overpeak that, doesn't overplay his advantage. Waits until he has got the advantage himself before going for it. Well played on his part, and got a lot of the space opened up, control upstairs, but the defenders have got first floor on lockdown. Center and Epic have moved back onto the bedroom side, so they're playing just a little bit far back, but Intel coming out for days here as they finally take down that BP. Getting close to this final minute of gameplay, and right here, Eddie holding onto the blue hallway in the basement, that perfect lurk position. Bless and Lecky are going to be in a world of hurt if they don't identify and find him.
Little to no information. Center almost exposes himself, but Bless and Lecky, they have the health. Lecky's making his way into the bomb site, gets lit up from the player top. East is able to find Bino, but isn't able to find a second. Eddie with a triple in the round. Can he get some 4K? The ace now nearly impossible. Less than a 1v3, 20 seconds on the clock. Doesn't have time, doesn't have info, doesn't even have space to work with. He's gonna have to absolutely work a miracle here. It seems improbable. Up above the smoke, Epic taking a lot of damage. Bless is trying to find the head, and from improbable, Center makes it impossible.
Well played on his side. I mean, complete vertical control by the defense. Nadeshot help finds match point scenario for round 1 in the SI LCQ here in North America. They are now 1 round away from moving on to face, well, the next team in the line. We're looking at that bracket. I know there is a bracket command that is out there to see who is next up in the list. And right now they're waiting. The team has already been decided because they got a bye. It is Tenko. And you know what? If I had to take a look at the team's Unstoppable, one of the guys that's been on this stream many times in the past, part of that Source Gaming roster among others, feels like they've got opportunity here to sit, watch, wait, understand potentially how this team is going to play before they may get steamrolled.
Yeah, I'm very curious if they're taking this time out kind of as, a mental thing. Maybe somebody has to go pee real quick. That's also a very likely possibility. Or the third option, the option that I hope is reality, is their coach Feroshi, who's actually an ex-major winning champion with Beast Coast just about, a little bit over a year ago now. So a lot of experience there, and he can add a lot to this roster. Because even with all the success in that last round, the fact that it went from a 5v3 to a 3v1 that honestly was relatively winnable if you had a little bit more information, I think that speaks volumes to, while Nadeshot have a healthy 2-round lead, that it's still possible for this to slip through their fingers, and they don't want that to happen in the first round of this
Attackers
qualifier.
need to locate and defuse as many bombs.
I mean,
as
that's
they
a
can.
great point. We literally saw it happen in the last weekend, right? Nadeshot
located
taking
by
on
attackers.
Imki. They lost that game. Now, it was on Lair, and it did feel like the Miami Heat were just on fire, and we made that joke a million times during that match. But it was just they fell apart at the end. I think you bring up a great point. Pause, talk about it. It is still possible there for the business guys to pull off a big win and absolutely an upset here versus Nadeshot. So pause, get this thing absolutely locked down. Let's what they're doing. Tons of utility players upstairs on the second floor. They're going to make sure that the business cats have to fight through a ton of utility to just gain any space upstairs. So there is always that possibility for a little bit of site direct, and Scoob is going to run the Blackbeard to try and see whether or not that's a reality. But with how much vertical coverage this Nadeshot team has got in hand, they're going to fight that battle on the 2F first for sure.
There's kind of two options here if you're looking at business stats. You have the utility to clear it out. You only have 2 nades, but that Brava is you can do a lot of work on any of those Malusi wubs or the Rooney gates. Or the second option, you can maybe use some of that utility to just hit the site. Only one person, Bino, inside of bar. Sure, you do have that vertical, that window inside of stock. It's clear. You could just jump into the bomb stage and try to get that plant down, maybe hold the cross. But that's something that business cats, they're not going to play into. Rather, just trying to fully clear this top. Vertical Epic looking to take a fight onto the player right outside of the library window. Very good job of business cats, just taking their time, doing their due diligence, not overexposing any heads to give Nadeshot an easy entry.
They've got good vertical control here. I think that's the reason we're not really going to be able to see that direct window jump in, is even if they're able to get the plant down, Nadeshot has got the vertical in hand, and they've gained control over on the office, bedroom, piano side of the map, but haven't really made that transition over. And you see all of those blue outlines holding on. Good sight lines in play to be able to try and block this, and there goes that nade tossed in, but man, 3 players holding on. It's 4v4 at this point as we get into close to that final minute of gameplay, and could go either way, but that's a huge pick for Zers.
Zer looking to do more work, has his reticle aimed up, but it's aim key onto Epic. Swing out from Fend is not good enough, getting a couple of shots onto him himself, looking for the spray. Isn't able to find it, the 3-man crossfire aim key. Vito at a 1v4, the SMG-11 went on to aim. He's able to find the head, but Lecky, he's going to stop the bleeding. And he's going to inch his team just 1 round away from overtime. Just 1 round from keeping their hopes alive and slashing the hopes of Nadeshot.
Man, post timeout as well. Gooder and I talk about the timeout buff all the time. Team that takes the timeout normally 50, 60, 70% of the time wins the next round. Better than average. Nadeshot loses that battle. That's crazy. They had a good setup upstairs. Tons of utility in play. The Brava, for me, was that difference maker. She stole so much of that utility. Intel, Rooney Gates, BPs, just crushed it overall and gave this business cats team a significant advantage. They're going to go to the second floor one more time, and we saw this back on round 9. That was the round that the fluke backdoor guy just destroyed and dismantled the Nadeshot defense. So that feels like more of a fluke than it does a significant strat. So I'm thinking Nadeshot has got a better opportunity here, and they're on match point scenario. Business Cats perfect for 1 to send it to overtime.
Yeah, and I really have to give props to Business Cats, and honestly both teams. Both these teams have won off of just pure structure and playing off of each other. We spoke about the rounds lost by Business Cats were ones where they were playing individual. They were playing away from each other, not playing as a team. But I think that round perfectly gives an example of Business Cats playing up together, executing on a spot away from the bomb site, and doing it perfectly. And that's something that Nadeshot, you can't really defend against. You can't use this utility to really completely stop that team play. Sure, you can slow it down, but it's inevitable that it's going to happen, and then you're going to have to rely on your placements as a team and the gunfires of your individual players.
As we get into that first 30 seconds of the round gone at this point, Eddie's the one holding downstairs on that game room side, watching, using the Denarius as that piece that's going to give him some of that intel of when the attackers make that push in. But you take a look, Twitch here, holding out, looking for the long angle to try and clear out some of this again. Defensive utility to give his team the best opportunity, and right now they have just been dismantling Nadeshot defense across the board, whether it's with Brava, whether it's with Twitch. It's been very successful overall.
Yeah, so far, Nadeshot not trying to play over aggressive, something they haven't done so far, but Center was about to meet the face of Scoob on that shield. Hasn't had a ton of success so far, but also hasn't really had the most opportunities. The main wall over by half wall is going to be open. Nade's going to be able to clear the shield, but nobody behind it. That smoke moved all the way to bathroom. A really good effort here from the defense to just try and force Business Cats to waste their own time, not giving them those easy opportunities.
And that smoke just slowing down the approach there for Scoob. You can hear the call coming out from the Dokkaebi. We're sitting in a 5v4 scenario. Final minute of gameplay ticks down. Great answer back there from Zer, taking down Fence, but man, taking a little bit of damage from the thick lock tracks on the stairs. That's unfortunate, but 3v3, health advantage on the Nadeshot side. Get into that last 45 seconds, man. This execute, this about to go crazy.
One more smoke in the pocket of Center. 40 seconds to work with. What can you do here, Business Cats? Scoob clearing up. He, unaware, is able to eventually find that player now playing behind desk. They have info, but you don't have time to waste. Here comes Center. A run out here from Epic. Isn't able to find anything whatsoever, but he's trapped out here. There's no way for him to get back. He is shut down. Center also shut down, but Bino is able to find one on Deserve. A 1v2, 15 seconds left. Case not in the control of Business Cats. Going to the plant. Bino trying to play aggressive on the Blackbeard.
Oh, he misses!
Almost finds the head, but he misses it. Blackbeard also misses. He gets the knife.
No way.
He's well aware of where he's playing. Bino, do you have the better play? No.
Wow!
No. It's Amkey, the 1v1 to send us to overtime. Nadeshot, your aspirations to go on to the second round to continue fighting are still alive, but Business Cats doing their best to drown out any life left.
Man, just shocked right now. Plant down, 1v1 at the end. The Blackbeard loses the battle and puts Amkey in the 1v1, and LeBron freaking pulls it off to send it to overtime. Wild. What a round one game. Oh, thanks to everyone for being in the chat, joining us for this one, because, man, we picked a great place to start out, and either of these teams is going to have a hell of a run through the rest of this bracket. This right here is the battle. This is like the Daytona 500, the biggest battle at the beginning of the season to get this thing kicked off. And right now, it is honestly anybody's game. I thought Nadeshot had this coming out of the start of that second half. They were just on target, on fire most of the time, but Business Cats are not done yet.
I mean, it's just the ability for Business Cats to clutch these rounds. And I think, honestly, the problem on the attack, rather, a lot of the times, is they're not able to get themselves in a position around the bomb site to even have the opportunity to clutch. But a majority of the time when they are in that position, they are able to shut it down. We even saw a 1v3 from Lecky that was, sure, he didn't win it, he wasn't in the best position, but if he just had a little bit more info, quite literally 10 more seconds on the clock, it could have been really winnable. So I think it's up to Business Cats. I think they win or lose these rounds, not in
that
the
is
1v1,
the greatest
1v3s, but
moment
in
in my life,
minute
bro.
to a minute and a half, just clearing and trying to apply as much pressure and take as many bodies away from the defense.
Man, I'm just like right now still in shock of what we got a chance to see here at the end. And take a look at Business Cats on this attack side again, using this time Bless running the Ash and clearing out some of this defensive utility. Rather than try and steal it, go ahead and just freaking blow it up. Amkey making the changeup onto this, onto the Finca, right? Give the team a little bit of extra health. If you take one of those battles with the Nadeshot team and don't lose your life, it can hopefully get you back. And there's tons of assists on the Nadeshot side. Those guys are just taking bits and pieces out of the Business Cats attack across the board. That's tons of assists, but oh, big whiff there from Bino, and pays the price for it.
Oh, Center's also going to make Scoob pay the price for exposing his head. That's the Blackbeard off the board. Honestly, a Solus for a Blackbeard It is somewhat even. I do think that still favors the defense because you just get that shield off the board. Here again, Bless has been 3-11. He has not been able to find a kill essentially all game, but I mean, he's been really quiet this second half. So if he's able to find any productivity off of this lurk over by Fireplace Stairs, that would be fantastic.
And honestly, we're sitting in 4-4 here as we get into that final minute, and you still lots of intel coming out here from the Business Cat side, droning, looking. Still have to deal with the Denaris though. That laser right in front of his eyes. No way to get through that window without clearing it. Otherwise, he's going to set it off and get a little bit of the debuff in play. And honestly, right there, Devin Center makes him pay for it as he goes down to a 2v2 with the final 40 seconds.
Aimkey getting the plan down. Bless on the cover. It's Eddie and Epic. Eddie through the walls, able to find the head of Aimkey though. Bless yet again in a 1vx position. 30 seconds on the clock. Very eerie to the last time he was attacking this bomb site. He has to find both players. There's no way he'd be able to get this bomb down. Sees a couple of shots, finds the
No way!
Eddie, there's right behind you! Playing ring around the Rosie! Couple of shots missed. Epic, he has the shotgun and he has more health.
No way!
Shot. After almost choking, they finally find the round lead and are on match in game points.
Whew. Man, Nadeshot. 7-6. 6-7 is mid. 7-6 clears. Nadeshot pulls it off, my friend. 1 round away from overtime. 1 round away from winning in overtime. And Business Cats, I mean, they showed up. Plant scenario just about there, but could not defend. Nadeshot goes up. And, man, this has come down to it. Still too close to call. Honestly, can't even make a pick at this point.
Yeah.
Nadeshot, though, I mean, it's been a little bit of a attacking Chalet, which for me feels like it gives Nadeshot just a little bit of a boost.
Yeah.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many
It's kind of
bombs
a
as they
difficult
can.
round. It really goes to show on why you have to fully clear that top floor hold. Otherwise, you're not
Attackers
simply
have
going to be
discovered the
able to play.
location of a bomb.
And even without the wall bang, eventually that plant was never going to go down. But it's actually Business Cats choosing to defend the exact same bombs that they just attacked. But one noticeable change here. The Scoob bringing out the Clash, something that we didn't see at all on their defensive half to start things out just so long ago, probably almost around 20 to 25 minutes now since they've defended
seconds
around. So
left.
it's quite a bit of time. But this is also a change that Nadeshot they haven't
5
been able
seconds
to play
left.
against.
That's a great point,
Attackers
right?
are
When
moving to
you get a
defuse the
chance to
bomb.
pick your overtime side when it's not your map pick and get to play on defense, it's given a ton of time here that he has not had the opportunity to defend, right? You have to sort of change around the mindset completely. I wondered whether or not they were going to take a timeout and just pause, think about it, reset the strat at this point, because it was only Nadeshot so far that's taken their timeout. The Business Cats could have pulled it off, but that also gives the opponents time to sit and talk about it and to prepare. So Nadeshot on the attack. On the attacker-sided Chalet, they managed to pull off a 4-2 half to start this thing off. Can they do it one more time? Or Business Cat's going to send it into double overtime.
Aimkey taking so much chip damage. And because he's just so low on health. Sure, he's still going to play aggressive. He's still going to have that gun to use, but he has to play more sparingly with the lack of health. For him, Bless trying to go for a swing onto a player that just simply is not there. A majority of Nadeshot have rotated over for that library position. Epic getting a little bit of info. A good job of shooting those Bravo drones out very early on.
I mean, that was a big piece of what was just... Bravo, I felt like, made an outsized impact on both sides of the map when she was available. And I think it's great that Nadeshot and Epic continuing to use her to be that key player. So they've gotten the main wall open, right? They've got the absolute entrance in to get that plant down in dining. So default's there and ready. Going to keep using the Flores there to try and clear out players' utility. But no, ends up in the lap of Malusi. Bless is able to shoot that out before it really is able to do any damage. We're stacked 5 apiece at this point in and there it is. Thermite going to open up this other wall as well. Nadeshot is going to have on the attack every sight line they need to shut down Business Cat and put a ton of pressure on them. This honestly feels like right now they are on a roll, and even though we're still stacked 5 apiece, Nadeshot is in the driver's seat for this one.
Zerd is on an island, and Nadeshot, they know it. Shooting those fire bolts to try and push him out. Fens is able to catch him off on that rotate. 40 seconds left. You still have 2 players on the control. Fens looking for the kill here onto Bless. Is he going to be able to find it? No, it's Bless getting the better on defense. The shot from Bino is going to alarm Bless, but they have a drone. They know that he's still here in this position.
Oh, what a trade!
On the swing. He swings on the piano. He finds it.
No way!
He finds a third on Bino. It's just epic. Alone in the 1v3. He makes it a 1v2, but with 10 seconds on the clock, no diffuser in his pocket. It's Business Catz yet again, pushing us to maximum overtime.
And Lecky gets the 4K at the end. He's going to need some barbecue sauce for that 4-piece because it was time, and cleared it out and sends it to double overtime. All 15 required. And you know what? When we talked about setting this match at the very beginning, the rematch of the first open qualifier game between these two, it was Aimkey and his team that prevailed over Nadeshot Help. They've had a couple changes on both sides of the aisle, and right now, they're still treating to us a fantastic game. It's come down to it, though, Goose. 1 round away from deciding who is moving on in the single elimination best of 1 bracket. Are you kidding me?
First game of the day, man. Like, you cannot ask for better. This is amazing. And I think this kind of a thing where we have to look at Business Catz. They have control of
Attackers
how the
need to
momentum
locate
is.
and defuse
Obviously,
bombs.
Nadeshot sets it. But it's Business Catz who need to try and find control. You cannot go for a slow clear and then just simply try to hit the bombs. That's something that Nadeshot is well acquainted to, and they have the preparations to deny it. So if you're Business Catz, whether it's just simply hitting that site really early on, or trying to find a weak point, trying to find a crack in the defense to expose, you need to find something that Nadeshot are not aware of. You cannot play stock in standard. You cannot give Nadeshot the easy opportunity to read you as a team.
Yeah, fantastic point. And the fact that they have got the Valkyrie on board, Fens running the Valk, is going to give them all this extra intel that they need to try and identify, right? I think that is going to be a piece that Business Catz is going to have to deal with early on. And I like the fact that they're bringing out the Brava, was very successful at stealing the Nadeshot utility when they've previously brought Brava. So that needs to be an early piece of this Business Catz attack, is trying to make sure that Nadeshot doesn't have the information to read into this. And man, they've been very successful overall on these first floor sites. This one, it's the second floor has been that sort of battleground, of the place where it honestly could go either way at this point. So the Nadeshot defense, all important first pick upcoming here. Who's it going to be? Positioning's good right now from the Nadeshot side, holding down a little bit of the mez, top of blue stairs. They don't have a deployable there to try and back any of it up, because more of the utility over on the bedroom office side.
Cube right outside a library. He is the main focal point. He's the main spearhead in this round. Epic looking to eventually shoot his feet out. Swings on to Aim.
A nade?
Almost finds him, but the nade pushes him out. Oh no, Scoop! Almost exposed, but Center goes down somehow. Scoop with 2 kills! He brings
No
down
way!
the pistol! And he's able to find Lecky. Center still down on the ground. It's all up to Eddie, Bino, and Center. Their last chance to move on in this qualifier, their last chance to go to Paris. 4v3, a very comfortable 4v3 here for Business Catz.
And with a minute 10 left at 4v3, you said it, 4v2, what a difference it was picking up Center to even these odds up just a little bit. You still have got the shield of Scoob left alive. You still have tons of util on this, honestly on both sides of this map. Impacts, nades, Man, couple of flashes or a couple of smokes in the pocket of Zers as well. But all this shield is going to be the difference maker here as they try and make the push into Piano. Man, Goose, 45 seconds. Who's winning this, my friend?
Center, he's able to find the feet of Scoob. Pino with one on dessert. It's all falling apart. Bless is the closest to anybody. They don't even have the kit.
You gotta be kidding me.
30 seconds. Nadeshot, have you done it? The case is on center, right on Piano. Bless, you have to expect him playing in this corner. You must hear the players. The TCSG, they don't know.
It didn't even look!
He almost finds both, but Bless, he's able to shut down center. They have the ping onto him, but they don't have enough. Round one, and it's revenge for the ex-Pro League team. It took all rounds, maximum overtime, but Nadeshot helped. They get the revenge on LeBron. They send him home packing as they continue their hopes for Paris.
Holy cow, Goose. Just absolutely freaking wild. What a way to end that one. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and troll us for like 2 seconds here. And there it goes. Wow, what a game between those guys. Crazy to see. Double overtime, all 15 required, and dude, it came down to the end. Couldn't call it. I can't believe that they had a 4v3, 4v2, and then throw it at the end, losing the shield, and honestly, just walking through the Piano double, knowing you said it, the guy is in the corner. Unbelievable game between these two, and man, revenge served cold here for Nadeshot as they move on. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's round one, but at the same time, this is the result a majority of people expected. And this was Nadeshot's game to lose, and arguably looking at the bracket, probably their hardest game in Open.
100%. I mean, Envy is already out. We've already seen the other teams that qualified to make it here. Everybody else is a fighting contender, but you said it. Business Catz was one of those best teams. So Nyx's team, probably the only other one, the CLB roster that right, there's a little bit of crossover in rosters there as Center was playing on CLB for that E6 final. So that's one that I'm potentially looking forward to, because this is going to come down to one team. Everybody is going to get a chance to play, whoever is left at this point, because it's not going to be two teams qualifying with seeding. Only one team makes it through today, and it's crazy that we're going to have to say goodbye to the rest of this bracket besides one team.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many more games to be played, though, and again, it's not a race. It's a marathon for Nadeshot. It's a fantastic first game, but they got a lot more to do to keep their hopes alive.
Yeah, that's right. And again, thanks for filling in for a Glitter, and we're going to keep you on as a part of the cast for as long as we can, man, because it was a pleasure to have you here helping cover the play-by-play part of this SI Open qualifier for, I mean, last chance opportunity, my friend. So we'll take a quick break, get that next lobby set back up, but thanks everyone for joining us, being here as we watch Nadeshot push through this bracket. Big GGs to them. We'll see you in a few. What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. Break time is over. We get to see Nadeshot take on the next challenger, and this time it is Tenko. Man, what a great game we were treated to, Goose, on that first round. 8-7, double overtime victory. Crazy game.
Yeah, I mean, it was really crazy. You could not have asked for a closer game for round one. As we move on to our second round matchup, things in theory should be a lot more farther apart, but again, there's always a chance for an upset.
Yeah, this Tenko team is got some names that we're familiar with here on the Siege Double Shot. For sure, we've seen Unstoppable on a variety of different teams, but he's picked up a couple of guys that maybe a little less known in the community. Karma from that U.S. Army esports team. So this one, on paper, looks like it could be an absolute train wreck for this team as Nadeshot plows over them. But big question about how that's going to happen. I mean, they've got an option. They can pull it off. It's a best of one any given Saturday, in this case, to try and find out who is going to be those qualified teams. And one of the things we talked about early on in this was that the rules last week was one team was going to qualify this weekend, because of the E6 victory from SOS, that's changed the scenario a little bit. We are now going to get 2 teams qualifying from this weekend, which honestly is fantastic. It's going to open up 1 more spot. So, you know what? If this is going to be the one to try and pull it off, your last opportunity for SI Glory in Paris.
Yeah, this is the chance for Tenko to play a little bit of spoilers. I mean, Nighthaven Labs, they start on the defense. That is the favored side for the map. So I really do think we will determine how this game will go based off of that first half. If you see Nadeshot get a couple of rounds, at least a 4-2 split on that attack, I think that's a very bad warning symbol for the defense. But I have unfiltered, maybe a little bit of a hopeful faith in Tenko.
All right, you may be one of the only ones besides their fans in the chat and us. You guys need to show up right now. Tenko, can they pull it off versus, I mean, this is a David v. Goliath kind of scenario. Nadeshot is very good, and they put up a hell of a good game against, honestly, one of the best T2 warriors in the scene right now in Aimkey. So they managed to put him down, but it is a pro league team, and your opportunity to take that fight. I mean, I honestly love the fact that you get the opportunity here to do battle on Nighthaven. And guess what, my friend? It is game time.
Yeah, Nighthaven Labs has been a really consistent map for North America through all tiers of play, from collegiate all the way to tier 1. It's a map that this region loves, and it's not going to change here today. Again, keep in mind, this is still a best of 1. So in my opinion, this would be the best platform, the best opportunity for Tenko to upset Nadeshot, but I don't think it's likely.
Don't think it's likely. I mean, that is the big question here. I completely agree with you, right? Nadeshot is just too good overall. But Tenko, you know what? Show up. It's the day. It's the time. It's the place to be able to pull that off. So we know a little bit of insider information from the prod team that there's going to be a rehost round 1 due to a cursor bug. So we have a little bit of extra time to talk about those bans. Bandit and Mira. Talked about Mira. That leaves Clash available, and on the Nadeshot side, so good at playing that when they get onto their half. I don't know how Tenko is going to play it. They wanted to get rid of the hard breach, make it a little bit more difficult for Nadeshot to open up those walls. So the Ace and the Mav going to go down.
You know what? I'm going to be honest, especially with how the most recent Thermite change has been iterated. And again, I think a lot of these changes, because we've only seen this patch be played in qualifiers, so it's not the highest tier of play. But in theory, I think you're going to probably see a lot more teams banning the Thermite over the Ace. And I think in this instance, I think maybe it was the wrong time to ban the Ace over the Thermite, because I mean, you can open up 3 walls with that Thermite. The Ace, especially for example on that top floor bomb site, you can essentially only open up 2 walls, and if it gets tricked, that's just 1 wall if you're lucky.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Ace, I feel like, has really fallen out of favor. The only advantage maybe that you have is that range reachability, but with the buff to Hibana, it feels like she is honestly the better choice in that case. So if you're going to have a team ban Ace, it almost feels a little wasted that there's better operators out there to be able to use instead of it. So that's a good point, good call, and rehost. We said it was coming. It happened. Unfortunately, cursor bug. So it's going to be not just a pause, full rehost coming in for game 2. We were waiting so long, my friend, but we're going to have to wait just a little while longer.
Yeah, it's sad, but you know, hey, you got to have some hiccups, especially after the game 1. I think this is kind of a thing where we had to even out the playing field. We had to even out our luck tonight.
Yeah.
Better now than later, especially since we still have a best of 3 coming up. There, I believe, are 4 best of 1s and then a best of 3 to end it off, and then another day tomorrow on Sunday. So there's just overall a lot of action for these qualifiers. I think one thing that a lot of newer viewers don't understand just how long qualifiers really are. This, in some sense, are even longer than playoffs for a major or SI. So, I mean, it is really just a marathon for all of these teams here today.
Yeah, you're working on playing ahead of time, prepping, maybe a little bit of free for all ahead of time. You know, everybody's got their own different style of warm up, but it means that you're involved with Siege for hours and hours and hours on one day, and then depending if the bracket even finishes out today, it could be tomorrow as well. Qualifiers are an absolute grind on the players' side, on the production side, on the admin side. So it's a lot of work, but to find, which team is that going to be, it's going to Paris. It's worth that time. And wanted to talk about which teams are actually in that closed qualifier. So spend a little bit of time on this early on, but closed qualifiers, 8 teams are going to be in that playoff bracket. Dark Zero, Oxygen, Cloud9 as the 3 Pro League teams that are auto-invited for not having a SI spot due to points. The X-Core Gaming roster, which is now Alix, they're the winners of E5. They have a spot. SOS, the winners of E6, they have a spot. Envy, from their qualification run in qualifier number 1, have a spot. And then 2 from today are going to round out that 8-team closed qualifier. And I think that's going to take place January and... I'm drawing a blank on the date. January 9th, January 6th, something like that.
Yeah, which is honestly, it's crazy because like whatever team wins that, like less than a month later, you got to fly out to Paris to play, and maybe fly out to a boot camp if you are one of the Pro League teams. More than likely, one of those teams that qualified to Paris will be, an OXG, a DZ, a C9. I could honestly see Envy making a really good run. Maybe one of the teams that qualify here today can make a really good run. But I mean, there's just such a long road ahead of us.
Yeah, and honestly, here on the Siege Double Shot, we are big JJ fans, so I would not be disappointed to see an Envy run to SI. That would be awesome. And huge fans of the underdogs as well. Getting a chance to see Ions and SOS make that run as well would be awesome, honestly. So looking forward to it. But... And the guys that lose have a long offseason. You're going to have to wait all the way until the start of Stage 1 if you're one of those pro teams to get going in Challenger Series for the rest of those guys. So we're going to get back into the game, though, my friend. It's ready to go.
Yeah, we're going to see what Tenko can do. If they can get a couple of rounds off, I have faith they can. Again, I think, everything points towards this being a decisive victory. But... nonetheless, we even saw last weekend against teams the same caliber as Tenko that weren't, those higher echelon. It's not going to be a team led by AMK. It's not going to be an Envy. It's still these teams like Tenko that give some difficulties, even if it's just a handful to Nadeshot.
Yeah, that's true. And I still, you mentioned a little questioning the Mav ban, whether or not that's worth it. Certainly leaves Thermite available for those exterior walls. And we did see the Glass ban on Chalet on our previous match, and not going to see Glass this time around. And that Glass Mav combo can be very devastating, certainly holding onto the cross angles downstairs in the basement bomb site, which is the first place we're going to see this one take off.
Yeah, I think, this is a map where if you remove the, I guess you could say, the entire factor of those walls, the hard breach walls for Nighthaven Labs is one of the main factors that wastes so much time. So in turn, it takes away the capability for teams to play a little bit silly, to throw some crazy ideas out of there because you're spending so much time just trying to simply get one reinforced wall open. But I think with these bans, it is going to make it a little bit easier for Nadeshot to get it open. But again, with all the experience, even with the struggle that Nadeshot have, they are a team that consistently get those walls open, do that dirty work early on.
10 seconds remaining.
We talked about the difference between the Clash and the Mira. Which one do you want to ban? Clash is sort of that mobile Mira setup. But one of the things specifically for Nighthaven is, the Mira tricking on those main walls, I think, is very successful as well. It's one of those things that, really puts the attacking team in danger as they try and make that direct push in. And, it makes you vulnerable to C4s. And look at this setup that Orbital had. And he was, I think this was number 1 and Orbita 1. You know what, we're going to have to get some clarification on which guy that is, but I'm loving the Denari setup with the trip connectors downstairs. I mean, going through drone holes, covering a ton of space there on the first floor.
Yeah, Fenn's showing us that tier 1 experience here, opening 2 walls. But honestly, yeah, I haven't really seen this exact setup, specifically those 2 trip mines from Orbita. I honestly really like it. One thing that I kind of, hate that players do with this Denari is just clutter them all up, because what people don't really realize, especially people who are newer to comp, is one nade can take off essentially all of those Denari gadgets. So spreading them out a little bit more, taking away that capability, forcing Nadeshot to not only take more time, but also utility to clear this is a really good little micro strategy.
Those are the kind of things that win games too, especially when teams are evenly matched, is the micro strategy. I like the way that you called that, talked about it. And take a look at this, right? That's interesting. Using the thermite gadget here to open up one of those walls upstairs, give them a better view at the top of the stairs to prep for this sort of exo side take. And you can hear the trip connector going off, giving away information to the Tenko defense. I think Denari is honestly one of the most underrated, underplayed operators at this point, especially as teams are finding out great places to use those gadgets. But take a look at the Monty pushing down the stairs and backed up by a ton of Nadeshot vertical play on top right now.
Attackers dropped the diffuser. Attackers
Another
recovered the
pick on
diffuser.
from Eddie. On to Unstoppable, a 3v5 vertical, fully in the control of Nadeshot. Karma with a nice pick onto Epic, going up that exo stairs, but it's Eddie who continues to drive that dagger deeper into the heart of the defense. A drop down from Bino, cut off by Orbita. This is an opportunity potentially for Tenko to work this back. If you're able to isolate that player, Eddie's able to isolate the head of Orbita. Fends onto Karma, not even giving Senator the opportunity to try and get that bomb down in the very first round, won by the attack.
Yeah, they looked like they were setting up for the objective-based gameplay, ready to try and get the diffuser down, but honestly, the Tenko team just gave them the opportunity and an attacker win. So interesting use of some of the thermite gadgets upstairs, opening up those sight lines. The Monty pushing down despite walking through the trip connectors. I think that only slows him down a tad when he's full shielded. So good play there from the Nadeshot help team, and great catch from the observer, watching the player jump through the hatch and be killed as she fell. That was a great catch, but Tenko needs to do something a little bit different this time around if they want to pick up a few more rounds. They had good defensive hold. Basement, I think, secondary site when it comes to Nighthaven Labs. This 2F site, certainly the primary, the little bit easier one to defend, and they got the combination of the Cade and the Two-Brow there for the hard breach denial. And I like Mute, even though Mute got a little bit of a nerf with the change in the way that his gadget is operating and affects the other operators' gadgets. I think if Nadeshot is going to be focusing on the intel side of this very heavy, Mute still brings a ton of value on the defensive side.
Yeah, also the very first time I personally casted this Thatcher rework, I think the skill ceiling overall for Thatcher is just been extended so much. Not really a whole lot of utility you can use aside from opening the wall. I think the main thing for Thatcher is it's just a lot easier to exactly pinpoint what you want to do instead of just throwing down one of the EMPs. It's just being a general radius. You can actually pinpoint exactly what you want to try and disable. And I think a team like Nadeshot is no one better to potentially show us the extent of how good this new Thatcher can be.
And that's one of those things. I love the Thatcher rework. We have talked about it here on the Double Shot channel a few different times. It's I think it's certainly a more strategic way to play rather than just tossing the nade and covering a huge area. And the fact that it sort of, plays a little bit of the IQ role. You don't need to double up on that. Gives the attackers, again, a little bit of an advantage. So this right now just feels like a good spot for the attackers on a game that had been so decidedly defensive-sided overall for Siege.
Yeah, Two-Brow directly countering that, though. Fens inside of connector, or E-box rather, right now is being held off by the Goyo fires. Or actually, rather, no, it's Bino's own fire that's holding him off. Just for now. Orba looking for the swing. Can he find the head? No. He just misses the opportunity. Fens choosing to play it safe as the rest of its team still just doing a lot of that busy setup work.
Yeah, I thought he was going to swing with that Shoddy as the alternative, but no, he had the SMG in hand. Look for that, goes for the trick on it, but the Thatcher ready and waiting. Eddie just prepared for it and completely shuts that down. So, again, the attack have got the walls open. They've got the sightline that they needed. If this Tenko team was trying to force Nadeshot into playing the more strategic, fundamental style of Siege, open everything up to get the sightlines, Nadeshot was ready and waiting for that. And right now, Tenko's holding on to all the power positions. You got 50 seconds left, so we know this execute is coming. All 10 in the lobby, so that kill feed about to be stacked.
A little bit of chip damage onto Karma. It's Nadeshot going for that execute. It's Eddie on the unstoppable first epic, and Eddie going hand in hand. Center able to get that plant down. There goes
no way,
raid, and it's Eddie with a huge round, aiding his team, leading them to a flawless. And now it's 2-0 for the ex-Pro League team here on Labs.
That was Eddie 4K coming out huge to start this thing off. Decidedly attacker-sided as Tenko, even with 5 players left alive in the lobby with 45 seconds left, was no match for the absolute collapse of the execute that Nadeshot had. And they pushed in from all sides. IT, Fish Stairs, from Connector, all at the same time and completely overwhelmed the Tenko defense. And you know, shooting through the smoke, well played for this team. So I feel like Tenko, you know what, you're struggling right now just a little bit, but it's your opportunity. You're getting a chance to play against a pro team. You don't get to see that very often. So honestly, love the fact that, you know what, this SI Open qualifier gives them the opportunity. So now's your chance, though. Adapt. What do you want to try and change around this time? I think right now they've been able to open up the walls, no problem. So what can you do to work around that? Trap ops, honestly, feel like that's a good way to go. Nadeshot gets a little overconfident, starts pushing in without checking all the corners, without checking for the frost mats in this case. It could give them just a little bit of a boost, but nobody else on the list, no Legion, no Capcan, who might be able to aid the frost in trying to trap this team out.
Yeah, especially adding a Jaeger. I don't necessarily have a problem with Jaeger. I think the Jaeger and Romai are somewhat interchangeable. I think Romai is a little bit better, but it's not a troll picking Jaeger. But the thing with picking a Jaeger, especially with combining it with that Izami, is your purpose is to try and hold a point of the map for as long as possible. Those, you know, Jaeger's obviously helping you destroy the nades. And it looks like this position is going to be Raptors, but as soon as you get that wall open, it's really easy to cut off this Izami player inside of Raptors. So that's something that Tenko has to be very careful about.
Yeah, they're going to have to be, you know, shaking in their boots about it is what they're waiting for at this point, because Nadeshot is just crushing it right now. So good hold here, a little util dump in, going to force this defender to swing while flashed. What are you doing, Karma? No.
Oh no. Oh, it's all falling apart for Tenko. A minute into the round, losing both your Mute and your Jaeger. A little bit of a roam or a flag rather here from Toji, but the shots onto the drone's going to alert the rest of Nadeshot, forcing Toji to rotate his way back down to site. Win throughout and through in this first half here for Nadeshot, and you guys still have a minute and 30 to play with.
Yeah, plenty of time, but in a 5v3 scenario, Tenko is certainly on the back foot at this point. You still have got the C4 from number 1, so he's got the, you know, can toss that, but it's got to be at the right place. He's got to get tons of value out of this. He cannot go for a single op. He cannot go for, well, just, you know, he goes for the Jinxie C4 over the top of the electrical generator, and unfortunately, the Nadeshot guys are just on freaking point to shoot it out of the air. And another flawless as just everybody dies. Jeez.
I think honestly that is the best way to put it. Everybody just dies as soon as Nadeshot goes for the execute on the site. Lucky enough, though, Tenko, they get to ban out a third operator. What are you going to ban? Are you going to ban the Brava? Are you going to ban the Thatcher? You're going to ban a shield? are you gonna ban? Like there's
Thatcher,
so much
Thatcher
for them to
Thermite.
ban.
Thatcher Thermite feels like one of those two is really what they were struggling with. The hard breach side, and yeah, they go for the Thatcher.
Yeah.
I think Thatcher was just too good right now in his ability to be very selective and give information on the intel. And the Nadeshot was using him very effectively. Also, try to manage the C4s because if it wasn't getting shot out of the air, Thatcher can also deal with that. And they're a team that can manage that with precision. So that feels like a good call.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been able to see it, but I think Thatcher's not main use, but I think his main upgrade is just aiding that post plant, a C4, an Echo, even a Smoke Babe. All three of those can be deactivated mid-air, even before a defender gets the opportunity to hit that trigger, and essentially can make some plants almost undeniable, aside from just raw swinging. But most teams, if you are a good planning team, you should have a crossfire to prevent those raw swings. But Tenko banning out that Thatcher, but at the same time, you get Cade off the board. I think it goes hand in hand. So either way, it doesn't really do much, in my opinion. Because I mean, that Thatcher's main use throughout the round wasn't to get rid of a Jaeger or get rid of cameras. It was just simply to get those walls open. And without having a Cade on the board, sure, you can bring a tuber out to waste time. But with this lineup from Tenko, they're looking to play a lot more aggressive within their utility
Attackers
rather
need to
than just
locate
using
and
it to waste
defuse
time.
bombs.
I mean, just running through scenarios in my head. What would Tenko need to do at this point? So, you know what? They brought along a little bit of the extra intel, bringing out the Soulless. You talked about the Toxic Bakes from there. From number one, is going to bring out the smoke. So they've got some of the area denial. The interesting pick for me, Toji running the Vigil. And Vigil, I think it can be one of those ops that's very successful if you can try and catch the attacking team off guard. You have got to be an absolute gunner to try and hit some of those shots. He brings along the K1A rather than the Boss G, which that to me feels like a good call because you're likely to get stuck in a 2vx scenario rather than a 1v1, and you're going to need all the extra bullets in that K1A rather than stuck with just the pair and the Boss G. But it doesn't feel like that's the right pick to try and take on this Nadeshot team. Now, if Eddie wants to just pad his kill count and take down center, that's one way to do it.
Epic 4-1 so far throughout these first now 4. They didn't reinforce the wall.
Is that a mistake, or are they just baiting this Nadeshot team into, like, you know what?
Here.
Bait it.
That might be techie, because if you put that thermite on the softball, you can just instantly shoot it now. Aside from the DMRs, I mean, it makes it difficult. They have a lamp. I don't know. They have a shotgun. Oh, they just opened up the wall for Nadeshot. What? Unstoppable. He gets out of dodge. It's Eddie who takes a bit of damage. Still Nadeshot in the deficit.
Okay. Alright, that's one way to pull it off. Man, that SMG-12 is just so damn good. In a 2v3 scenario, Tenko up. No!
Oh.
Damn it. Just as I said they were a 3v2 up in the man count, they throw away a body. But Orbita takes that and wins versus Eddie. And there it is. The Tenko victory. Yeah, it was a question mark there for opening up that wall. But, man, you said it. Little techie coming out.
Yeah, I think it's also a sense like we could really trash Tenko there, but at the same time, I think Nadeshot just kind of started to hit that site early, and Tenko, they didn't have that speed, they didn't have the quickness to set up the site to match the pace of Nadeshot, but they still won it. Like, we're saying all of this about Tenko, and they still won the round. That's their only one round so far. And if it takes not reinforcing a wall or a player playing that vert as the soul is going huge, they'll take it. They'll take whatever they can get, whether it's an inch or a mile. Tenko, they've started. In my opinion, I think they need at least a 3-3.5 here on the defense. But again, with how Nadeshot have been playing,
attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Well, and so far they've been completely shut down on the second floor as well. We saw it back on round 2 and 3, both Nadeshot victories. So the good thing is the timeout buff did work. Tenko pick up a victory off the back of that timeout. They got rid of the Thatcher. It feels like that made it a little bit easier for them to try and manage around it. The unreinforced main wall in the basement, you know, was feels like that could be a one-trick pony kind of a play, which I know we talked about that in some of the earlier matchups. That's the style that like Oxygen likes to play, where you have an interesting strat for one round, but it doesn't become successful when you try and run that back, because Nadeshot will absolutely adapt, right? This Pro League team for sure knows and can work around that if that's what they see again happening. So it is the second floor though, so right now all of the adaptation pressure here is on the Tenko team because they have not found a way to win upstairs.
Yeah, they also haven't found a way to play any bomb site aside from that control and basement bomb site. They haven't played kitchen, they haven't played stock, and you're allowing Nadeshot to play both bomb sites back to back, relatively similarly. Unstoppable
what a whiff!
trades, but it's Epic and Fens. Karma now off the board. Number making his
No
way
way he's
up
getting
water
this diffuser
stairs.
down already.
Is he aware of Epic though? He's not. Epic shuts him down. Eddie, who's 10-1, gets that plant off. Toji doesn't even know where he's running. Fens finds him. Orbita in a 1v4, a blitz. Epic yet again killing his teammate. Orbita went on to Epic. It is possible. 25 seconds left. You know, full health Fens though, very low. He's going to be opening that wall, giving him a little bit more line of sight. Creating now a crossfire flash.
Oh, the flash didn't hit.
Doesn't hit him though. The second one does. Orbita, what can he do? Not a whole lot. That 7-minute timer's off the board. Bino also takes him out of the round. It's a 4-1 lead.
Damn, nice play there for Nadeshot. I mean, the diffuser going down in instant after that, after the play, after the round started. I mean, just they had that strategy on lockdown. Tenko, you know, is sort of asked to play pretty spread out, not knowing exactly which way Nadeshot is going to run it, not being prepared on either side. They left the riverside basically completely open, and you know what? Even a little bit of help at the top of warehouse. Maybe if he had won that battle with the player jumping in from the window, backed up by the Monty on the warehouse stairs, they might have been able to try and react to the plant going down. But it was just well played by Nadeshot. Huge whiff, unfortunately, coming out on the Tenko side that allowed the warehouse to fall. So you said it. We had not seen a control storage site yet, so we get the opportunity. The problem is this tertiary for a reason. Statistically worse than either the basement or the two left for the defense to hold. Doesn't spell, doesn't give a lot of hope for the Tenko team, but you know what? It's something different. We haven't had Nadeshot a chance to see how Tenko is going to hold on to it, so try it out. Run the castle this time, block off some of these sight lines, throw in a few Fenris and a little bit of extra intel from the Valkyrie and the Solus, and this is a setup that could work.
Yeah, I honestly think the setups haven't necessarily been the problem for Tenko. Matter of fact, it's been consistently one of their biggest strengths. It's just having, honestly, decent setups, especially for the tier that this team has played at previously. And Nadeshot, it's given them quite a bit of difficulty. They wasted a lot of time. The first round, I mean, they didn't hit the site until around 50 to 40 seconds. So Tenko has been using this defensive utility quite well. Karma, the tied for leading kill leader on his team with Orbita. On a little bit of a solo lurk. Can't really say lurk if Unstoppable's right next to him, but he is looking to potentially catch an attacker off guard. Nobody in his vicinity, though, as they get the wall inside of storage home.
That's a big piece of it. So now his sight line's there, and they've used the ram upstairs to gain the vertical control on top of that storage side. So IT is going to be certainly the focus. They needed to gain control upstairs and hold on to it. The problem is from the Tenko side, they've got 2 over in command, 1 in electrical, so it sort of leaves IT a little bit undefended, but the drones, the intel coming out here. So for sure, Nadeshot knows that they've got a pair of players upstairs, or a trio of players upstairs, to try and lock this thing down.
Fence is a little bit scared. They have a ping and essentially have stalled out just for now, though. to be using this boogie drone to make his way inside of Raptors. It's exactly what he does, trying to find the head of a player who can rotate. It's Devin for the very first one. Unstoppable answers back, but fends with the quick trade. Eddie, the star of the show, makes it a 4v2, now makes it a 4v1. It's all up to the Valkyrie. Alone in a 1v4. Being constantly seen, the C4 goes out, but he swings it.
Nice play.
At least onto the player. He has a couple of pings, but he's not aware of Eddie yet again. You cannot stop this guy. He's continuing to have a fantastic game.
Yeah, the man is sitting at more than a 6 KD, 13-2 overall. Just unstoppable right now. And I'm not talking about the player on Tenko. I'm talking about the way that Eddie's playing this game, including TK, right? He's got a little bit extra KD padded by picking off his team members as well. Yeah, Nadeshot is just crushing Tenko right now, but game's not over. It was a 5-1 half. They get their opportunity to try attack on Nighthaven with all of the attacker buffs that we've been talking about. You're going to have to try and do it without the use of Grim. And it feels like we'd probably walk into a Ying ban on the Nadeshot side. Again, forcing Tenko to play a little bit more of that fundamental strategic siege with opening the walls up. And they answered back with the ban on the Bandit on their side as well. And now the Cade to make that just a little bit easier. And going to have to do it without the aid of Deimos, which to me says that Nadeshot might want to move into a little bit of a roam-heavy playstyle on their defense and try and just, catch the Tenko team off guard, upset their style of gameplay, play a little bit aggressive on the attacker side or on the defender side, and not have to worry about those Deimos drones pinging out the players.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall it really goes to show how contrasting the play styles of both teams
Attackers
are.
need to locate
Just
and
going
defuse
from the
as many
bans,
bombs as they can.
Tenko full focused on taking away those hard breaches, making it easy to get those walls open, something that they struggle with because they are a lower tier team. And if you look at Nadeshot, they're taking away those meta powerful operators, a Grim, a Deimos, something that gives them problems as a pro league level team because they're just very powerful. And I think both sense it works out for both teams. It's not necessarily saying that a Cade and a Bandit's a worse ban than what Nadeshot did, but it just plays to their own strengths. And that's something that we will continue to see. Even when you go all the way to a best of 3, you're not going to have teams prepping, understanding every map, knowing every bomb site that's being set up. And it's just about both of these teams, no matter the level of tier, playing to what makes them comfortable.
Yeah, Epic just having a little bit of fun here right now. This certainly feels like a team that is just, feeling themselves clearly in the lead, clearly in control of this match. You know what? Try and do a few things. And we talk about teams like this is a pro league team looking to potentially save some strats here. So I think we're going to see some things that are potentially unconventional in their defense here, allowing Tenko to, maybe gain a little bit of space they wouldn't. Typical, and hoping that they're going to win and expecting to win some of the gunfights directly. That again, just plays a little bit off. And Epic playing the Vigil upstairs, holding on to command. It's a basement bomb site, so very spread out, roam-heavy defense here from Nadeshot. And Tenko onto the back foot, 5-1. We need to see them win one of these rounds early on. And right now, Blackbeard taking on the Vigil in a 2v1 scenario. No, a 2v2. As Fens is the guy that jumps in.
No. Epic, he finishes it off. Fens looking for more. Orbita all alone. You had an Ashe and a Blackbeard. Not aware of Fens retracing his position. But not aware of Eddie from down below. Nadeshot picking them apart. Not aware of Fens behind the little server rack. Orbita in a 1v4 makes it a 1v3. Player down below, player right in front of his face, but it's Fens with the NP5 to take him off the board and get them match point.
Goose, I don't know whether or not we're going to see the next set of bans. Are we going to make it into the fourth quarter? Oh, and a little bit of a potential tech pause. So, okay, no, doesn't look like it's going to happen. So, kitchen cafeteria. You know what, Nadeshot, I'm not unhappy about that. Again, statistically, the 4th site, the worst opportunity here on Nighthaven for the defenders statistically. So they're giving Tenko a little bit of a boost, give them an opportunity to try and take an attacking win here, but still going to have to be hitting all of those shots as we get down to potentially the last round of this game. Currently up 6-1 Tenko. We knew that that this was going to be a tough battle, the David versus Goliath. The next team is already waiting, so the break is going to be significantly shorter
Attackers
this
need to
time around.
locate and defuse as many
Packrunners
bombs as they
are the
can.
team that are waiting for the winner of this match. And we will continue on our coverage here of the Nadeshot help team. Packrunners the latest in that stack, looking to find a win, but Tenko's not done yet, so I'm gonna wait on it.
So we're sit. Let this boil. See where it gets us. Epic. Bringing out that flash to deny space. Don't necessarily think the idea is to completely slow down this
10
attack.
seconds to insertion.
You also have the Scopos. So already going to a bomb site, I think they're
5
playing
seconds
into
to
it quite
insertion.
well. You see this spread of operators. This isn't necessarily
Attackers
surprising.
are moving
You
out to
have the
locate a
Clash that
bomb
is
and
able to
defuse it.
play directly onto the bomb site. Sometimes you're able to play on lobby. Here's exactly where Epic is. So just allowing for those roamers to safely get back down to those positions, using that shield to, prevent these Tenko crosses from catching them off on that rotate. So I actually really like this play from Nature.
Yeah, 100% agree. This is a setup that that I think is feels like feels like one you might see in a ranked game, but they're going to execute this what feels like significantly better. So Karma's going to use that thermite, open up some of the sight lines here. Again, we're getting to watch this the kitchen site, so it's got to be a huge focus on the vertical from the Tenko team. That's the reason that this site is generally bad in a competitive setting. So they brought along the Ram. They didn't bring along a Buck to try and bolster that, but Toji running the Brava hasn't been able to find a kill yet. But that op that can try and steal some of this this utility, and there's a ton of electronic utility in play. All the Fenrir gadgets, all the Malusis, and the idle shell if they can find it from the Scopos.
Nobody has fallen just yet. Center's going to rotate back down, or teleport back down to the bomb site, rather. Creates a little bit of a vertical hold down below. Constantly trying to apply pressure is exactly what Nadeshot is doing. You can see how careful, how cautious Tenko's being. They don't want to overextend. That's exactly what Unstoppable does. Not Unstoppable for now as Fen stops him.
Number one.
In number.
Heck yeah, we're into a 4v4. All right, they're making this happen. Bravo working on stealing some of this utility. They've got the idle shell. You could see it in play, but locked down in the kitchen. So, and you can see guns up, pointed at the ceiling, expecting the vertical to happen. And damn, just as we say it, Eddie takes down number one. So they're looking, maybe going to get a kill off the environmental ingredient. That would be kind of wild upstairs. And yeah, the ping's coming out. Needs to take down. Yeah, shoot the idle shell, my friend. It's giving away all that intel on your position.
Bino's still inside of lobby. He can do so much damage here if they don't have the information. A drone goes out. Not sure if Karma's aware, but no, he's not. Bino pokes his head. He finds two. And Orbita finds himself alone in the 1v4. Nadeshot, they've done it. Center just trying to make it a little bit more even here for the Nomad, but Nomad not even trying to challenge, just trying to sit bait, trying to potentially find another kill, find himself, even goes for the swing, doesn't find anything whatsoever. It's Epic who actually finds the kill. He finds two, finishes off, and it's 7-1 for Nadeshot.
He says, you are not stealing my kill. TK at the end, 7-1 victory, and I mean, Eddie was unstoppable, and ends up with what was that? A 15-3,
yeah.
5 KD. A hell of a game for him to play that one out. So, fantastic game overall. If you are a Nadeshot fan and getting to see what they could pull off on Nighthaven. And one of the things we love to do here for sure on the Siege Double Shot, highlight new players, new teams, new leagues. We got to see the America's Gaming League Christmas tourney last night. And Tenko, you got your chance to be on stream as well, but it didn't go your way. And so we get to see Nadeshot and Packrunners ready, waiting for this team. I think we saw some of them in chat earlier, so looking forward to see what they can pull off. That's a team that made it also to the quarterfinals previously. I think that is going to be a much bigger challenge here for the Nadeshot team.
Yeah, I think Packrunners probably is one of the more difficult teams. I think it's going to give them a run for their money, but just how they look right now, they look nearly unstoppable.
So good. So good.
I mean, yeah.
All right, well, we'll take a quick break, set up that lobby again. Goose, thank you very much for filling in. Appreciate you stepping in when Glitter was unavailable. So glad to have you on the Siege Double Shot here for the 6 Invitational Last Chance qualifiers. Appreciate you, my friend. Thanks, everyone, for being here as well. What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. Wow. That Moneyball game, what a wild ride we were watching, Goose. Yeah, somebody's getting moss checked for sure at the end of that one. I was a little bit surprised. Not quite the blowout we saw in ours, but man, what a game.
Yeah, and we've got a really good game in theory. I think a lot of people will look at this on paper and say this should be a clear win for the XPL team. But I think in theory, this roster, aside from MKey's roster, probably has the best chance on this side of the bracket of getting this X-Pro League team to the distance.
Yeah, and Packrunners. So, you know what? I didn't have time to update one of the graphics for who was on that team, but it's Artix, Mookie, Devin, Matumba, and Vironix. And honestly, thank you, JJ, for the raid. We talked about how we're fans of the channel here, fans of you and the channel on Siege Double Shot earlier. So appreciate you joining in for the next one. The next team we're going to see try and take down LFO Nadeshot, and that is the Packrunners. So, talked about it, Goose. You said this is a map you wanted to see today.
Yeah, you know, if I wasn't going to get a fortress, which we still haven't got, I'll take a lair. I'll take what I can get, especially with a lot of these teams going up against this LFO roster. I think you need to take them to maps that they're uncomfortable on. I don't think Lair's the best example. It's a map they haven't played a whole lot. They do have a decent experience of playing it, especially in that pro league setting, but it's still a map they struggle on. And I think it's because it's a newer map, because it's a map that Packrunners quite like. I think this is probably their best chance to get as many rounds, maybe even an upset.
The other thing that we talked about is that, to me, it feels like LFO lost to Aimkey's team on Lair. This is the Packrunners doing a little bit of a prep work ahead of time to say where potentially is Nadeshot vulnerable. They've shown incredible gameplay on Nighthaven. They crushed on Chalet. I guess that one went to double overtime, so let's not go crushed. But honestly, great plays overall from that team. Aimkey's guys were just incredible gunners. Where they were vulnerable was Lair. So this is the opportunity, and they really struggled on defense to be able to hold this thing down. So, my friend, it is time for Lair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for this one, specifically because I get to see Lair in a qualifier. Now, Lair in a map itself, I like, but in the setting of a qualifier, where teams, they get a little silly, they take a lot of those risks. I think Lair is essentially plays like a completely different map. And I think that's exactly what Packrunners need to do. We saw it a little bit in the very first matchup for Aimkey's team against Nadeshot. They took a lot of big risks, a lot of runouts, a lot of risky lurks. But at the end of the day, it was the team play that got them to maximum overtime. And I think that's yet again something that Packrunners need to play into.
Yeah, and I think that they certainly can, right? This is a team that is prepared, and we talked about it, for the most part, has kept this roster steady throughout their pro league stages, with the change being bringing on Devin center as one of the guys who is very good from a shield perspective. And you know, one of the things that we can't not talk about as we roll into this is the fact that we're still playing live Siege with some live problems. And if you noticed, Packrunner missing their 5th. That's unfortunate because we're likely to see a longer break here. So getting a chance to see Cade Bandit gone, Deimos Monty. Now they have a little bit of intel on which operators are they going to have to work around. But I think the unfortunate thing is, Goose, we may have to take a little bit of a longer pause here.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, that's probably the worst part. And the only bad part of a qualifier is it just takes so long for these tech pauses. The bans, though, don't really surprise me. I mean, it's just stock and standard what we see, but that's a good thing because I want to see teams like Packrunners that don't have as much experience ban and play like they do have that experience. I'll see a lot of tier 3 teams, tier 4 teams ban operators that you don't see a lot, and in theory sometimes it works out, other times those are just useless bans and they don't have that knowledge. But Packrunners already out the gate, I like that they're being standard. I like that they're playing into the map itself because that is what should, in theory, lead them to some bit of success.
Yeah. And we talked about it on that previous map to Nighthaven, that from the Nadeshot side, getting rid of the Deimos shows that they want to be able to move, or getting rid of the Cade and the Bandit shows that they want to try and open up all of those walls. They want to be able to have all the sight lines in because they've got some absolute gunners on this team, and you give them an angle, they are going to punish you with it. So it is going to be a little bit longer of a break, so we'll take a break, send it back to the Moneyball game for just a few minutes as we get that lobby set back up. But man, Siege just had some problems today, and what a day for it. SI LCQs. 2 teams are going to make it all the way through. We are getting close. This is the last round that was scheduled for the games today. The quarterfinals and semifinals are going to be played tomorrow unless the teams can agree that they want to finish out and play some of those games. Last week in qualifier number 1, some of the games got played. Some got held until the next day. So we'll see. Still TBD at this point. But back to round 7 from the Moneyball Red Dot Warriors game. We'll be back as soon as that lobby is set up. All right, my friend, it is time. Back into it. Game is ready. Finally here. Let's freaking go, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's honestly been a hot minute since I've casted Lair, and I think, in theory, on paper this should be a very closed-ended match. But in theory, I think Packrunners can put up a decent fight here. I mean, look at the Moneyball game. I mean, they're down, like, I think last time I checked, like 2-4, 2-5 to a team that, like, in all honesty, I don't really know anybody on there. They don't have that much experience in a high-end game. So anything can happen. I mean, even last week, Nadeshot was eliminated. So I think, there's potential here. But how much potential is the question?
The mental game is so different, right? When you think about, this is a pro league team that is looking to play together, get themselves ready for Challenger Series to earn their pro league spot back as part of that promotion relegation part of the esports scene. But the other piece is, right, they take this very seriously. They want to try to make it to SI. They know they're going to have to play Dark Zero, Oxygen, Cloud9 coming up to show what they can do. And then on the other side, you've got teams like Tenko, like Moneyball, like Packrunners that are perennial T3 bordering on T2 favorites looking to make their mark. And this is all like, fun opportunity for them to try and make their mark and show what they can do against a pro league team. But the pro league side, they are in a must-win scenario, right? Anything less than winning is a significant loss for them. And they're not doing this for clout. They're not doing this for exposure like some of the other teams are. So there's a very different level of intensity, it feels like, coming into these games. And I think that's why Packrunners, right, playing on Lair, showing some vulnerability, I think that's going to make Nadeshot focus up in a big way.
Yeah, so far, Nadeshot taking a lot of time to put information on that first floor. They aren't going to really take advantage of it at all. Rather, it's going to be Devin inside of Op, clearing his way all the way down the hallway. That wall onto the bomb site inside of Mask is completely soft. Or not soft, rather, but there's no electricity on it, so that should be easy for them to get open if they want to try and get this plant down.
Okay. NXG taking down Eddie as the opening pick. Finally, we see one go. It's a heavy operational side push here. They're going to block off that main Raura door to be able to prevent the max side desk from really being a factor in it, with the Blackbeard pushing the rest of the defenders out of position. I actually love that Raura play to try and close this thing off. Get set up, gain a little bit of space, open up the door, and fight for the desk when you're ready. I love that play.
No nades in the pocket of center, though, so they're not going to be able to get rid of him. And oh my god, Jevin, he has a long angle onto essentially where the plant might go down. This could be really huge. Nadeshot, they identified this, but Dino, he gets the better shot. He takes down that player. Spearhead, it's Epic who goes down, but center finds another one trying to get Ben also down to 2v3.
What a play!
And now a 1v3, and it's Packrunners to come up on top. They take the very first round and completely stun lock Nadeshot.
Wow. That Blackbeard, just a ton of value out of the shield coming in for this round. Packrunners stun, you said it, on defense to start this thing off. Statistically, for sure, the best site, the place where we're expecting the defense to pick up a win. But it was against Nadeshot. We're expecting them to come in like crazy. But Blackbeard, not enough to be able to try and clear this out and hold down and prevent the win. So, man, what a round one to start this thing off. Packrunners got to be feeling good about that.
Honestly, that was a really good round from Packrunners. Again, I talked about team play, is to play around each other. You saw that entire last half of the round was Nadeshot, specifically center, trying to use his shield to isolate a player, to force that 1v1 that in theory should have favored him. And when he did eventually get that, it was so difficult because he still had teammates left. Both Epic and Fens were already down. They weren't out just yet. But it was actually Packrunners who were consistently isolating and taking those and then winning those.
Yeah, it's something we didn't really see from Tenko at all, right? It is something that we saw from Aimkey's team that, yeah, they could keep up with the Gunners there on the Nadeshot team. So Packrunners, right, fighting for their spot. We expected Nadeshot to focus up here, play this one, and lock in. But, I mean, Packrunners feeling the same way, right? They want their shot at going to Paris here for the SI. And LCQ, last chance. I mean, this is it. And when you talk about winning SI, the crazy part, right? That 2022 TSM team, they made it to SI from the LCQ and went on to win it. Talk about a lower bracket run from a team. Anybody can pull it off. Now, anybody's not Bolo, but you know what? I'm just a little hyperbole here today.
Yeah. I mean, looking around here, I really appreciate Packrunners reading into the momentum, understanding that Nadeshot were taking their time here. The barbed wire is going to alert this smoke. He's just going to throw out one of his smoke babes to hold off the shield player in center, but he's trying to play here. He doesn't use that smoke to fall off, rather to apply pressure and continue to hold this spot. Trying to not filter under any of this momentum that Nadeshot is creating, and that's something that they're not used to. And Jevin, he gets not only
no way
one on the center, he gets two. What in the world has happened?
That is crazy. Minute 20, halfway through this round, and the Packrunners are in a 5v2 after just shutting down this team. Epic's finally going to answer back to take down Veronix, but Mookie takes down Binu as well in a 1v4 scenario. No way, my friend.
Wow.
What is going on? These guys are just locked in right now.
Wow. I mean, like, I think one thing that we have to really make known for a lot of people that are not familiar, that might not even know Lair in a competitive setting, that it is a map that does consistently favor the defense. So in a sense, in this matchup, with how the map goes, this is not a surprise. But in the matchup with the Nadeshot and Packrunners, the fact that they've not only been able to get 2 rounds, but 2 rounds back-to-back completely unanswered, neither of those rounds did Nadeshot even have a foot in the door. Maybe you could have argued
Defenders, protect
the
your
first
bombs
round.
from being
It has
defused by
consistently
attackers.
been Packrunners in the driving seat and then continuing to hold that position. They have not given up to this pressure that Nadeshot is creating, and that's something that Nadeshot hasn't dealt with. Even going back to the aim stat in round 1, there was rounds where Nadeshot would apply a little bit of pressure, use the utility to try and clear the momentum, use the shield on center, and then Aimkey's team, they'd falter back, they'd give respect. But this Packrunners roster, I mean, whether they're crazy or smart, they are not filtering under this pressure. They are not giving any respect to this roster.
You bring up a good point there. It felt like, you know, tons of that action not happening in the basement. Round 2 was a basement bomb site, and basically none of the action happening in the basement. Lots of it happening on that first floor. So they were playing a roam-heavy defense, and you can see upstairs for holding on to the bunks briefing side. That main breach is certainly going to be where the focus is, and that means our 6th room upstairs is where all of the action is going to happen. Nadeshot from an attacking side absolutely has to clear out the Packrunner defense. And they are stacked. 3 of the 5 players upstairs on that 2nd floor. Mookie playing the Warden upstairs in that R6 room. That used to be the rampy strat when we saw right at the first time Lair was introduced. He was always playing in that spot with the Warden, and for a good reason. That is a great place to get the hold on. Nadeshot's got to focus here. They're going to open up that main breach, so they're ready as soon as they got control upstairs, but unless they possess our 6 room, there is no chance you get a plant down in that spot.
Yeah, no chance whatsoever. Into the round, Fenn's doing a lot of the information game. It's been the early round, necessarily, that Packrunners have been doing really good at. Nadeshot have not had the opportunity just yet to even hit the site whatsoever. Will this be any change? Veronix in a very similar position, not in where he is, but exactly how he's playing. In a power position, trying to deny map control, being paired with his smoke babes in his pocket. So far, it has led to success, but Epic finding success onto the head of Matamba, getting rid of that mirror very early on. That's a lot of pressure. That's an opening pick and a C4 with it.
Man, Eddie, the hero of that previous map, absolutely on fire, but struggling to get anything going here. That was his first picked up at this point. The air denial from Veronix coming out, going to push Blackbeard back down those stairs, but you can see they still have got 3 players upstairs holding onto that 2nd floor, and just as soon as I say 3, it's going to be 2. This Sven is able to take him down and to manage to put Veronix back downstairs, and no way, he goes for the run out outside and gets 2? What?
Veronix, what have you done? Legion, he's coming over here. He hears. He gets the center shield. Are you kidding me? What has happened? Epic is able to find Legion. Veronix is going to run a mile away. They don't even have the diffuser. 30 seconds left on the board. And he retakes the vertical. This is a fantastic play here by the smoke. This is exactly what he needs to do. He has info on the drop, but Epic has info on him above. It doesn't matter if you have fantastic, one of the best plays from a qualifier I've seen all year. The gun on Epic is just too good, and they get their very first round, even if it was a hard-fought battle.
Oh, man.
What?
That was such a great round, right? Just the confidence to swing outside, picks up a double and then a triple to put his team within striking distance in what looked like a hopeless scenario for the Packrunners, man. Veronix shows up in a huge way. Nadeshot's able to cancel all of that momentum out, but you got to believe the vibes are just sky high right now on that Packrunners roster. I mean, yeah, you lose the round, but what a mental victory to just annihilate Nadeshot in that way. So, man, he goes for the vertical. It's where he had to be, but certainly the attackers knew that as well and were watching for it. Pixel perfect placement downstairs for both the diffuser and to guard the vertical. I mean, there's a reason that they're in Pro League and they've made it this far. But, man, what a round for Packrunners. This is why we watch the game, my friend.
Yeah, and I think that round, I hate to spin something negative, but I think that round perfectly shows us a glimpse into the mental, the play style of Nadeshot right now. There were a lot of sluggish mistakes. There were 3 different opportunities for that smoke to lose his life. But whether it's just, you know, the mental down in the dumps of Nadeshot, or they're just playing sloppy because this momentum, this pace is so hard to read of Packrunners. I think that is the main issue, is they're just not able to read into the pace, which in turn doesn't allow them to predict what Packrunners are going to do before they do it.
I mean, playing unconventionally, it's exactly the kind of thing that you need to do as the clear underdog against the pro league team. Play unconventionally, and you know what? Winning a couple battles is not a bad way to go as well. But I don't think that from the Nadeshot side they were expecting the defender to run outside with a shotgun and then go for the rappel on a repeat as well. So just W plays overall now. Nadeshot, I mean, they're going to use the DMRs, open up some of these sight lines. That new DMR in the hands of center, and you know, they're going to have to try and work on opening the walls up in there. Fence has already got that main mask wall open, but Mookie's there, using the Azami and the Keeper Berries to block off those sight lines and still trying to hold on to it. But Fens, what a pick to take down the Clash. That is huge and a serious, unfortunate loss for the Packrunner defense.
Yeah, that is a pivotal pick taken away from Packrunners. No immediate trade either from the defense. That's going to continue to build up the pressure on the shoulders. You don't want to get over aggressive, but also with this 1 man advantage, it gives so much to this attack. Not only in confidence, but in bodies, allows for you to apply more pressure, specifically onto whether it be the bomb site itself or the top of stairs, over by where Matumba is playing. It gives them a lot of freedom.
And we were talking about into the last 30% of the round, the final minute of gameplay, and Nadeshot has got a little bit of a bonus here as they're sitting in a 5v4. How about a 4v4 as Matumba finally is getting a lot of call-outs in the chat. It was his time to pick up one, his first, and it was a big one, taking down Eddie and the Grim, so they lose some of that attacker util. Vino's going to hit with that nade, though. That is a huge pick coming out, and look at the players stacked up outside this door. No way he survives and hits that! What is Bronix on?
Are you kidding me? Yet again, Nadeshot! The round starts to slip through their fingers. 2 players slipping through the lines. The slice was epic. It's just him and his teammate Benz. In a 2v3, 30 seconds left on the clock. Benz, he slips his way through. But
Looking the
Veronix
wrong
is ready.
way.
A triple kill for him in the round. Epic finds his way into a 1v1. 19 seconds. The bleeding body of Jevin right next to his feet, but he doesn't have the case in hand. He has to go head hunting, whether it be the case or Veronix, or swing in a flash, but he
Self-flash.
6 seconds. All you have to do is hide away for just long enough for Veronix, but no! Pistol on the hip, question mark in chat. It's epic with yet again another 1v1 clutch.
Oh man, question marks in the chat again. It still feels like the vibes are high on the Packrunner side. They are hitting when they need to. 2-2? There's no way that Nadeshot should be this freaking close. 1v1s in the final seconds coming down to the end of it. That is just absolutely wild. And you know what? Even if Packrunners don't win this game, they've already started to win over some fans.
Yeah, I mean, this entire roster, I think a lot of people don't give the respect. I also think Packrunners as an organization,
Attackers need to locate
not
and
trying to be
defuse
mean,
as many
it's
bombs
not
as they can.
a sense where they've been high tier leagues. It's a you know, run-of-the-mill org. They've been giving a lot of undeveloped players, undeveloped teams chances to, you know, have somebody backing them up. But I mean, a player with experiences like, you know, Arctics. He's been around the block a couple of times. I think Matumba probably has the most experience on this roster. So I think giving players like those a chance. He's rotated through a couple of tier 3 rosters. He's been on a couple of tier 2 caliber rosters also on top of that. So he brings a lot of experience to this team. But I think it's really just a new guy trying to make their name. Veronix on the top of that totem pole, definitely making a run for his name here.
Yeah, and we've seen the Packrunners in a couple of the big T3, like T4 finals happening. I believe we cast them in the Baller Open finals a while ago, so they've been all over the place. And I think this is Nesta normally playing on this team, so Matumba filling in. So you talked about bringing some experience. it's not a bad place to do it. Yeah, you change up your roster a little bit, you change up which players are in place, but if you do that with adding sort of a known quantity, a guy that's got a little bit of experience that can maybe help you take down the Pro League team, I think that's a great add. Now, the question is whether or not that's more than offset by the fact that you've got a little bit of a miss so that was tragic. He had the wall open. The flash doesn't hit, doesn't back up his team to be able to go for the entry. And the hero of the last round, 5-1 now as he goes down. Unfortunate, a couple big picks there coming out from Nadeshot. Not unexpected, but man, 5v3 is a tough scenario now as we get into the final 2 minutes of this round.
Yeah, if you're Packrunners, it's kind of, a double-edged sword. It's, you have to play aggressive, but at the same time, if you play aggressive in a 3v5, there's bodies that they can throw at you to try and take you off the board. But trying his best to potentially trying to head the player over there, but the flashbang goes out. It's going to push him off just for now, but he's trying his best. He's trying to find anything to claw this round back.
He's going to have to try a little bit harder at this point. I mean, you're talking about 5v2. They have got to be absolutely on fire right now, and basically no utility left on the defensive side. Mookie's got one more Kiba barrier, and that is it. Nadeshot can just sort of sit back, relax, work on the trade game. They can force a couple of 2v1 scenarios. Even if they lose one of them, they are going to win this round. There's plenty of places that you can hide. All of the small rooms as a part of the basement here makes this more difficult, but man, just wrong place, wrong time as Nadeshot finds the opening over on the lab side. They're going to find one pick as that plant goes down.
Mookie trying to play the vertical, but it's too late. Eddie on the cross, he's going to find him. That's a flawless round for Nadeshot, and 3 rounds in a row, not even really needing a timeout. Very fantastic effort from them. But, I mean, to be fair, aside from that round, it has really been tooth and nail for Nadeshot to work their way to this point. Packrunners, well in a position to get a 3-3 half. Not something I necessarily thought I would be saying going into this, but they've been putting up a fantastic game. Surprises aside, I think it's that early game. Playing way too over-aggressive, especially if there's smoke. I understand in this current meta, you can have a lurking smoke on the defense, but just overextending yourself in an isolated position, especially 30 seconds to the round, just allowing for a free head, like a whack-a-mole to pop up for Nadeshot to smash down. That's exactly what they did. It's exactly what Epic did. And I think if you continue to give them those early and yet easy ones, it's just going to set you up for disaster going later into the round.
Yeah, disaster later into the round. You called it. And Nadeshot, I mean, making a huge comeback here. Those first 2 rounds from Packrunners were really felt unbelievable. The next 2 came down to the 1v1s. That final round, round 5 in the basement, way more one-sided and more certainly what I think you and I expected going into this round, with Nadeshot just being more dominating across the board. Opening entry picks, better control of the map, getting the plant down on top of it. That felt more like what we were expecting. So can the Packrunners keep the magic happening? Can they stay alive a little bit longer? Gonna try upstairs one more time, and this site was overall fairly successful for them. A big piece of it was pushing the shields out of position, so Devin's going to run the blitz instead of the Blackbeard this time, so he's got a little bit more ability, and I like that Epic switched onto the glass. You want to make this even easier for this attacking team, but those are 2 good changes that I think will benefit the way that Nadeshot has been playing so far to try to match some of that intensity that Packrunners have been bringing.
Yeah, this is something that Packrunners haven't had the opportunity to play against, so might be something that they're not necessarily expecting. Actually going for the site hit right now. Bino trying to get that case. The smoke is going to damage him, but he's able to get it off just in time. A C4 out is able to kill him. Eddie from behind is able to find Veronix, evens it out to a 3v3. Epic on the glass, trying to cover fire. He's going to move away. Eddie with a double now. But Arctics, he claws it back. Fends all the way on back hallway, defending the bomb. But actually there's 2 barriers to try and safely get the plant to go off. They're trying to get it off. He can't find the head. He eventually does.
It's just Yuki in the 1v2. What can you do? You have
Oh, he's gonna be able to get this! He's gonna be able to get this!
He's gonna be able to get it! Fence is not even close enough! Yuki! The 1v2 Fence not reading the situation right, literally. Covering his head. And Packrunners falling off of a 0-3 previous round count. They're able to snuff it out and at least find an even half going into their attack.
No freaking way. Oh, the fact that Azami runs out the breach and swings and wins the battle versus Glaz in a 1v1 with the Deagle out, and then unfortunately Nadeshot is not in a position to go for the cover, and then he's able to long arm it behind that the reinforced wall. I mean, just the angle was perfect. You know, whether or not the plant spot was in the right spot, certainly questionable, and man, that is an unfortunate round of loss for Nadeshot because they played that up until the very end perfectly, right? Holding the angle with the glass, is able to take down the planter, even with using the Kiba barriers to block off that hole. That was a fantastic play by the defense, but it looked like Packrunners were going to lose it because Nadeshot had that thing on lockdown with the glass, but man, the long arm and heads up play from Azami to swing it with the Deagle wins them the round, ties this thing up, and has given them, honestly to me, maybe a round or two more than we expected going into this.
I mean, yeah. I think looking at this roster, obviously, I don't want to sound like a prophet, but I did understand that there was a possibility for this to go to the distance. But now, Packrunners, can you match your fantastic defense with an even better attack? They want to win this in regulation. They need 4 rounds. Not only is that unlikely, but overtime also not necessarily letting into the cards just yet, especially with this lineup. Again, I think Nadeshot is a team with all the experience. They are able to play really well in the meta. A little nice C4 there, placed by Fence. Not sure if they have information or they're clearly going to just go off of sound comms or maybe a comm from the default cam around that area. But Packrunners, if they're not careful, they could trip up into an easy opening kill.
Man, thank you very much for the raid, Cards. We appreciate you joining us, one of the community casters today, covering some other pieces of the bracket. But a lot of the teams are starting to finish up because for sure, Karn & Co. is done for the day, meaning match 59-62. The quarterfinals and best of 3 on the lower side of the bracket will not be played out today. So there's going to be more Siege for sure taking place tomorrow. Still a question mark here on the upper side of our bracket. So wait until this one gets finished out to decide how is that one all going to play out, because we still have a few more games to play. Now, if we take a look at this one, what a play there from Nadeshot as 3 kills happen in quick succession, putting this in a 3v2 with the defense a little bit on lockdown. And you can see the cams flashing. They have got intel on where this is being played out. Really feels like the Mirage is causing more problems here for this Packrunners attack than expected. And damn, Milo, thank you as well for the raid. Everybody closing up their games for the day. We're just going to keep watching Nadeshot and Packrunners do battle here as we're 3-3 halfway through this match.
Matumba, what can you do? You have to be the player to go. Huge C4 goes out, but it misses him. Matumba gets 1. Center's able to find Veronix, and it's just not enough. Start off the very first half. It's the ex-Pro League team to stunt. Honestly, really great round from Packrunners.
It was not enough, unfortunately, to give them the win. But again, they're just getting way closer than expected. Right? They are holding their own against the Pro League team at this point, and it is best of 1. Anything can happen, and whether or not Nadeshot is currently trying to save some strats, trying to be careful with what they're showing here on Lair, at the end of the day, you still have got to win the game to earn that spot, right? You can only save so much and make it to that final game. So this is a must-win scenario. It's a best of 1. Nadeshot wants to see that chance at Paris. They have got to win here. It is a long road to Paris, all the way through these SI Open qualifiers, but starts today for sure. Nadeshot, man. At least they closed it out, though.
Yeah. I think every comeback everyone needs to start with a very big play. And it was almost a really big play, but with so low in health on that blitz, I mean, there's only so much you can do. But again, it goes back to my idea that even all the way back to the aim key stat game for the very first round, when you have teams that have a really good start against Nadeshot, put them in a man deficit, a position deficit, whatever it may be, it's usually Nadeshot, the team that's not able to really claw it back. So yet again, the first half, the first minute 30, maybe even 2 minutes of the rounds really do seem to be so important for Packrunners.
Feels like it's a bit of a confidence thing too, right? We talk about, at least on our side, feeling like the vibes are very high, right? If they can just walk into this and just carry that momentum, I think they feel very good about the way that this one is playing out. And, you know, they lose some of the battles early. Yeah, it starts to drop your head just a little bit, and, you know, it can't carry that level of confidence because it really feels like confidence is part of what has been really working for this Packrunners team. And, you know, we're talking about Denari all day, how good he has been, and Fens just bringing out the Denari, using those trip connectors. You're going to hear them going off across the map and burning util. That was a nade, frag grenade, that the attackers had to burn to try and clear one of those out.
Oh, yeah. No, that's just, yeah, no. It's not. Yeah. I mean, as soon as I saw they were going for that boiler take and there was a smoke on stairs, there was no cameras, like, they don't know he's there. That's, yeah, that's tough, man. Good effort, though. That was a good idea. If the smoke's not there, and also the TCSP is just the Monty shield, it's a different story. Mookie, though. A 1v3. Very low on health. This would be an absolute insane clutch if he can work it off. But still a smoke babe in the pocket of Eddie, a 3-man crossfire. Unless Nadeshot somehow, someway, unless they find a way, they have to find a way to lose this. Just literally breathing on the shoulder of this Ash, and he is removed from the round. A lot of work to do, potentially trying to use that Ash charge to mask his sound, but they know he's here. They know exactly what to do. A 2-man crossfire. It's Bino and Epic. A little bit of a crossover, but it's Epic to eventually shut him down. 2 rounds in a row. Packrunners so far in their attacking half not able to find any success.
Well, you said it earlier. Lair, a little bit of a defensive-sided map. We said that after Packrunners picked up their first 2 rounds, and then Nadeshot answered back with a double. It's like, all right, defensive-sided, even against a Pro League team, you have a little bit of advantage statistically on the side. So now as it comes into the Nadeshot defense, they're certainly looking better, aided by the fact that the map is a little bit defensive-sided. Now we get at least a chance to see the tertiary site. So 2F basement done and dusted here for Nadeshot. Solid wins. The Packrunners had a couple moments of brilliance. Not enough to show that they were going to win this map outright. But here it is, their opportunity now on the tertiary site. Bunk's briefing, and we talked about it when Nadeshot lost their game to Aimkey during that open qualifier #1. It was on Lair. It was the place that there was some vulnerability for this team. Packrunners looking to try and exploit that here, taking the map ban phase all the way. I was wondering whether or not we would see Fortress, were they going to try to carry it forward, but so far, again, not making it through. I don't think any of the SI games today saw a Fortress map. So this is their opportunity, though. Packrunners, what can you do? For sure, the focus all upstairs on that R6 room, and Nadeshot certainly prepping for it. Right now, 3 of those players upstairs holding on to 2F positions. Area denial plus center playing on that mirror. So they have got this thing on lockdown.
So to all tier 2 and tier 1 teams, I think it was Forrest who did it in stage 2. If you guys want Chipotle, I'll cash app you guys like $50 if you guys want to play Fortress. Do me a favor, I'll do you a solid. Do 1 for 1. But for now, we are not on Fortress. We do have to finish this map of Lair, and there's a lot of work to do.
Yo, clip it, man, because you know what? I'm here for it. I will join you. I will contribute to that prize pool, Goose. I want to see it, my
we'll
friend.
Have a Chipotle fund.
100%. We're in.
But yeah, I mean, it's understandable. It's a new map, especially in a qualifier setting. I mean, it's probably not the best idea to pick into it.
In a best of
So, I mean,
three, though, maybe you got the opportunity, right? You don't have to take all of the chance on that, and you know you are going to have to play it at some point. Teams have got to be prepping it, preparing for it. You know that, like, C9, right? Cloud9 is ready. They have got some strats in place for that map and will destroy you when you get onto the close qualifier side, but kind of like that C4 just did to Mookie. Unfortunate. It's going to be res, though. W.
Oh, they weren't even going for the plan. I think they were trying to fake it out, but you waste 2 smokes. Devin's able to find Bino, though. That is a really good start. If you find another one double up, you need to clear fence. You're able to find even one. It's actually epic, rather. The call goes out. The plant's actually starting to go down. Ben's on the swing. He's caught off and traded with the plant. With the planter, rather. Has been taken off the board. Veronix rotating to the second floor to back up his teammate in Capitao. Last 2 players for Nadeshot on this first floor, but what can they do? What can they find, if anything at all?
I mean, Epic is still low, right? They have a minute to play this thing out. You still have got 2 of the smokes in play from Mookie, and they're going to use 1 to try and gain a little bit of space. But again, the focus is all upstairs. They do not have access room control. No way, and no diffuser currently to try and push this thing down. With 3 players in play, no way Veronix gets that one.
No.
Damn.
Oh, heartbreaking. But honestly, I think it's a good thing in a way that these rounds have been heartbreaking. I think that's the best way. Packrunners, whether it's getting an early lead or in that round working it to a 2v2, they've been able to find themselves with their foot in the door, giving themselves an opportunity. I mean, if you just play that different, if you just go to the right side of that half wall or that, middle wall right there, the showcase, then you can potentially find that player. If you maybe had a little bit more info, the fact that these rounds have been getting so close to the point where we are able to even call it heartbreaking is good. They just need to fix, kind of iron out a lot of those problems in the last half.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, heartbreaking, close is certainly the words to describe this match. It's not like that double overtime banger we had to start this thing off. That one was close. This is Packrunners, right? Throwing the Hail Mary and coming up clean, like actually hitting some of these shots. You take a look at the scoreline, though, right? Nadeshot has picked up 6 of the last 7 rounds with that legendary stop in the middle for the Packrunners, but they have absolutely been locked in here on Lair. One-sided for sure, and even, the blitz was a little bit of a help there at the end. He's going to be banned for the final quarter, but losing the smoke on their side should make it a little bit easier for the Packrunners to gain some access, gain some entry. But you can see Nadeshot picking into the alternatives. Goyo Tachanka on the board for this 2F defense. And it got a chance to talk to Canadian about it during the Spoy Contender Series. Is Tachanka a good play upstairs? His answer was yes. Second floor Lair, second floor consulate. There are some great places for the Tachanka hold for how much room and how much ground you can cover. But he's got to be played right. Got to be played in conjunction with some of the other operators. And the fact that Eddie's bringing out that area denial really is going to make this one difficult for Packrunners. So match point scenario, and not just match points, is the end of the road for Packrunners. Nadeshot 1 round away from moving on to the quarterfinals here in the open qualifier number 2.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Nadeshot, they have, in theory, 3 rounds, 3 attempts to end this in regulation. Packrunners, you gotta go flawless. You cannot drop one map anymore. Your backs are against the wall. The blitz is off the board, but Veronix quickly rotates over that Montian operator, a shield that he's already played this half, so it's not a problem for him, an operator that he's quite comfortable on. But I really do think eliminating that smoke allows not only for Packrunners to, have more time on their hands because that, time deniability is off the board, but also it lets them play a little bit more freely, take space quicker, get more time to drone. I think it really just is ironing out the small issues because they have fantastic ideas. They have fantastic picks so far.
That's a good point. I mean, I like what we have seen from this team, and boy, there it is. The ace charge is coming out, goes for the bandit, the bandit trick, which, you know, has become a little bit more difficult to run successfully this time, though. He goes and tosses the C4, doesn't hit anything with it, so they've got one of those main pieces of this attack done and dusted. The wall opened up, and then Mookie downstairs and upstairs. Oh, this is huge for this Packrunners team.
Yeah, I believe it was Epic who said Yuki's bad, but I mean, he took that personally. Fens also around half health now removed from his persons. Even with that low damage, Yuki, you've done your job, you've gotten 2 kills, you've worked that vertical. Bino is able to eventually find Yuki. Jeffin is able to also down Fens, not immediately trade him out though. Epic is going to rotate around to try and revive his teammate, but he has to be very careful with the top rocket hallway. That fire though is going to allow him to revive his teammate and retreat back to the bomb site.
Minute 16 left on the board here. Talking about a 4v3. Great opportunity here for the Packrunners. They've at least got a little bit of the man advantage. They're holding on. I mean, can they try and pull this thing off? Nadeshot, you know what? One of the better teams here. Certainly the favorites walking into this match. Packrunners, though, they've got intel, they've got utility, they've got a shield, they've got 50 seconds left to work with. Got to hit their shots, though, and play this carefully against this very good Nadeshot defense.
40 seconds left. That does limit them in Bino. A nice shot onto Arctics. Fens behind this showcase. He could do a lot of damage if he's able to time his C4 right, but Verdicts actually he's going to be rotating over the bathroom side. Fens does hear this. Epic's able to isolate the player. Bino onto 1. It's all up to Matumba. In the 1v2, what can he do? Is he aware of Epic? Yes, he is. He's able to find Epic, but Fens with the Mossberg is able to finish it out and ends it in regulation, ending Packrunners' run here in weekend 2 of the SI qualifiers.
Holy cow. Big GG's there to Nadeshot and Epic coming up huge at the end. 7-3. I thought the Packrunners were going to be able to pull this off. Man, the hopes and dreams, they were right there. I still got to believe, though, even though we ended at a 7-3 victory, the Packrunner vibes had to be high. You know, certainly a little bit of disappointment, but man, they put up a great fight against Nadeshot, against the Pro League team. Man, that was just a fun one to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was like 2 or 3 rounds on that second half where it ended in a 1v1. So many rounds where it just ended in heartbreak. But I mean, that's probably, in my opinion, one of the best ways. I'd rather go out than that than just a clean 7-0, not even having a foot in any of the rounds. But again, obviously they didn't get us even to overtime, but still a fantastic effort from the underdogs of Packrunners.
Man, what a game. And you know what, Goose? Right now, there's been all of the other games had finished up. Some of them are being paused. We said officially done for today. Nadeshot wants to keep playing, so they're planning on playing their quarterfinal game after this one. So we'll take a quick break, try and figure out what exactly is happening with that bracket. But appreciate everybody, all the raids, everybody coming in to see how this SI LCQ Open Qualifier number 2 is going to finish out. Some today, some tomorrow. But man, Goose, appreciate you being here with me again for another fantastic map. See you all in a few. What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. It is time, one more game. Honestly, I'm super excited that the players decided to play this one out because this is a hell of a match we have coming at us. We are down to almost that final 8 teams. I want to take a look at that bracket real quick because, man, some good teams left, but this one, this matchup is going to be awesome, Goose.
Yeah, I mean, I think aside from the aim key game we had in round 1, this in theory should probably be one of the best chances tonight. At least tomorrow's a different thing, but for tonight to be a very close game, maybe even an upset, because going into this next game, Fundamental is a team that has a lot of experience and a lot of potential.
100%, man. This is going to be a great one. So we'll take a look at the teams, because you look at it and you say, Fundamental, who is that? Well, man, what a lineup that Fundamental has been flying under the radar with Vipoa, Teddy, Neon Light, HUD, and Bomb. And there's been a lot of discussion about collegiate players in the chat today, but man, Bomb is one of those guys that we have gotten a chance to cast at Butler at the Queen City Clash, and he absolutely drops them on his teammates, the former Fisher players. So really looking forward to this, but they are up against, again, the Goliath in Nadeshot, and you know those guys for sure at this point.
Yeah, I mean, and then Teddy and HUD on a team, man, you couldn't ask for better. You couldn't ask for better. I'm so excited for this. And we go to Nighthaven Labs, a map that not only today, but historically this year, LFO have been very comfortable on. So this is a map that, sure, in theory it favors them, but again, you get to start on the defense if you're Fundamental.
Well, speaking of starting, it is time for Nighthaven, my friend, and I don't know whether or not defense is going to be the difference maker as we get into this match, but man, what a play. We are going to be in for a treat today. Yeah, HUD versus Bino for not the qualification spot. This is the winner moves on to the best of 3 semifinal game that decides who qualifies to the closed qualifier. Likely that game, I don't know if it's going to happen today, hopefully tomorrow, because honestly, man, the players, the prod staff, the admins, we're running out of steam. It has been a long weekend for the SI LCQs.
Yeah, and I'm curious. We already have that thermite ban again, going back, and I don't want to say proving my theory, but supporting it rather. Curious if they go for the Mav ban. I'm gonna a Glass ban. If that is, popping a question mark in your head, if you're very, somewhat new to the competitive scene, especially up against a pro league level team, no matter, we can talk about their shortcomings, how they didn't have success in stage 2, but nonetheless, this is a T2 or tier 1 competitive level team, and really aggressive util heavy operators like a Ying, like a Glass, even you could argue a Blitz, a Sens. Those are operators that are going to not only cause problems, but in the hands of players like Nadeshot LFO is going to double
Attackers
the
need to
factor
locate
of that
and
bomb.
defuse
So
bomb.
Fundamental taking that off the board. Props to them. That's something that we have not seen another team do so far today.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. We're talking about the fact that Thermite is certainly one of those operators that has been buffed to the point where, you said it, he's able to open up significantly more space than Ace is, right? And maybe teams still aren't feeling comfortable with Hibana. Honestly, with the DMR though, I feel like we are going to see the rise of the Hibana DMR play in competitive, getting into this thing. But especially since Mira's banned, right? The fact that you don't need the Ace to try and open up that long range window. Taking away the thermite certainly makes that a little bit more difficult. Now look at this, Teddy.Shube. We said some of the Space Shube players in the lobby hiding downstairs in the basement to try and hide that pulse and hopefully catch this Nadeshot team off guard. It's one of the things we talked about in a few of the earlier matchups, right? You can play some of those sort of trick shot rounds that hopefully catch a good team off guard that wants to play fundamentals, but it's only going to work one time. But wow, how about that? Fence pushes in and punished for it quickly.
HUD already in the chat. Players like HUD and Teddy, they are resident chatters in competitive games. Not necessarily a bad thing. They're just, players that like to work that mental game, that like to talk a little trash. And in tier 2, that's something that I really value and appreciate, because, it's a personality at the end of the day. Teddy down below trying to grow a little bit more than a personality. He sees one ping, the C4 goes out, but it
What's
misses.
a miss?
A couple of chip damage onto Epic, but I mean, Epic perfectly just walking right in time, but still no information on exactly where Teddy is. He could still play spoilers from down below. I hope rather, that he has that shotgun. It's going to allow for him to play that plant denial even more.
Honestly, that was so freaking close. Epic, I think, even looking at the ground. So, and how in the hell did I survive that? Because that honestly, think he should have gone down in, you know what, turned into jello, like a glitter would say, at the hands of that C4. But they're opening up all these sight lines now from the Nadeshot side. Connector fully open and guarded by both center and Bino. We've got that sight line, or Epic, on lockdown. No more of the ace charges, no more of the Selmas in play, so they're going to have to deal with all of the flashes impact, and there's 4 flashes on the board still.
Really nice pick from Eddie on to Light. Still a little bit of a standstill here. Bino trying to take space inside of IT. You still have Teddy down below. Actually, on
he gets the bailiff.
Bomb is down though by the bailiff. HUD's also dealt with, which is by Poa and Teddy. Teddy making his way up.
No way.
Bino's going to punish by Poa. The 1v2, the fire's going to mark off Teddy. He's going to rotate around though, trying to find Bino on the support plant. Blicky on hand. What can he do? Couple of shots
W bait!
Finds one on to Devin though. Bino, can you get the better? The shotgun coming out, but it's just not enough. Bino with the better. Another 1v1 for Nadeshot and another round 1 off of the back of it.
Man, what a great play there. Again, Fundamental getting close. Teddy playing downstairs in the basement, hiding. And if he had hit that C4, man, the difference maker in that round for sure. It came down to the 2v1, but again, Nadeshot has been very good at objective-based gameplay. Their plant percentage is exceptionally high throughout this entire last chance qualifier, and I think speaks to the skill of that team. When you can get yourself in, prepped, ready to play the game rather than just trying to go for kills, that's gonna keep Nadeshot in the top echelons of this game as they, try and push through. So you said it though, Teddy, an epic all-chat warrior, but gotta start backing it up in the server, my friend.
This map brings me back to the most infamous HUD clip where he's in a 1v1 on defense, and he just runs outside of IT wall and just sits there. And the entire time his position is being revealed, so no duh, the attacker wins the kill onto him. But again, it really goes back to, sure, HUD doesn't have a high tier 2 experience, doesn't have tier 1 experience like Nadeshot does, but he still has been around the block. He's been playing tier 3 for quite a bit of years now. So he has that experience. He has that understanding that's needed. For the very first round, I think they did a good job. It's just Nadeshot understanding positioning at a higher level than Fundamental. And that's really is something that Fundamental isn't going to be able to change or fix.
No, that's a good point, right? There's things that are things that you can work around, things that you can change, but some of it is just going to be built into the strategy you got yourself set up on. So from the way that Nadeshot's playing this one, right? Fens was in the building, taking that engagement super early on that last round. They're playing very aggressively from an offensive perspective, looking to try and catch Fundamental off guard. That was successful versus some of the teams that they played earlier today, but I think Fundamental has got a set of gunners on it. T2 players for sure, guys that they have been playing against for a long time, so they're going to have to be a little bit more careful this time around. And seems like they're taking it easier this time, not going and entering with that crazy kind of rush. And you can see all the Fundamental guys holding on to the power positions. Nadeshot working around, clearing out the defensive utility, looking to get that execute set up. And man, right there, maybe a ping coming out, going to bait out that smoke. That worked out very well in their favor.
A lot of utility pressure here from Nadeshot, trying to press out these defenders from their positions. The C4 goes out. HUD is able to find Fens.
HUD with another one onto Epic. The stud is out in full force. Nothing that Nadeshot can do about it.
talking about a 5v3, this one is going very well for Fundamental. I mean, you look at what utility that the attacks team still has. Bino's got a couple more of those arrows in play. They have this, the can opener, but I was going to say, is it going to go? Yeah, they're going to get this thing open. Just 2 more of the Grimbees, so they've got intel and a little bit of time. 45 seconds left, but man, Pillar on target. Bino just better at the angle.
Starting to work it back and have a potential position to get this thing down. The player right to the left in the corner is just plaguing them. Cannot push him out just yet. Eddie taking damage himself, trying to find him! Bob, what are you doing? An easy opportunity missed, but Neon is able to claw back a 2v3. Bino trying to get that down. Eddie trying his best to hold cover fire. He has a nice little angle here. But Bino just swings way too early, gives his life away. Eddie has no idea where these last 3 players are. He's able to find one. Can he do any more?
There, Vipoa gets it!
It's Vipoa. And essentially a 1v2 to get their very first round.
And early on, that's round 2. We're in a back and forth battle between these two. Man, you're looking for Nadeshot to come out swinging, make a statement on Nighthaven, and Fundamental answers back to tie this thing up. And on the top floor, on the main bomb site, we got to see one attacking win, and Fundamental made the adaptations, answered back, and able to carry that 5v3 man advantage all the way to a win, even though it came close. They can't take anything for granted, certainly against the way that Nadeshot has been playing overall, but man, what a game. What a way to end this
Attackers
thing.
need to
At
locate
least
and
end
defuse
that
bombs.
second round to send us into the basement. So, what's the defense going to do to adapt? I like that Neon's bringing out the Mozzie, right? Fight back against the intel. One of the things that Nadeshot, and honestly all of the pro teams are extremely good at, way better than the average T3 team, is intel and droning. Right, they know the value of the drones, and if Neon Light can steal away some of that intel, I think that is a great play overall.
And I think again, you have to meet Nadeshot at these gunfights, have the confidence to win them, and then it's up to the player's own ability to then win those gunfights. But you have to put your position or yourselves in the position before you even have the opportunity. I think that's something that I've been talking about all day, is that when teams put themselves in positions to meet Nadeshot in those engagements, to not filter at the pressure, to try and play against Nadeshot rather than play into their play style, it has resulted in success. Obviously, 3-7 and then matching overtime, you can argue, how much success that really is, but it's what we've seen that has worked today so far.
Man. Taking a look, 5 stacked this time. The first minute of gameplay almost gone, and it feels like they're taking a little bit of a slower approach. And for sure, Fundamental is playing very spread out, and there's no roam clear over on the Nadeshot side. We don't have the Dokkaebi, don't have a Jackal, don't have a Deimos in this case, and all of them are available. So this is one where I don't know if they were expecting Fundamental to have such a big roam-heavy game. Neon Light manages to pick up one, but Fence answers back in a big way. Puts us at 4v4, but Bomb tosses his namesake and hits that, taking down Epic. And man, what a couple of trades back and forth. A 3v3 at this point as the first half of this round is gone.
Yeah, Hud overstaying his welcome. Fenn's going to punish him for that, but Fenn's so low on health. Has to be very careful of what engagements he chooses to take. A 3v3 now here. 1:20 to work with. Bomb making his way up from basement, trying to potentially catch somebody off. Keep in mind, the bomb site is not inside of cargo. Still so much work here for Nadeshot to do. Teddy all the way over by Stacks. On his window. Does he know he's there? It's actually Eddie catching Teddy on the rotate back. Makes it now a 3v2.
Nadeshot with a little bit of the boost right now. 45 seconds left. You can hear the vertical still working, and right now they're just running around. Oh, felt like that was a little bit early to pop the oil canister, but he does not want to be put in a position to get killed from above. So good drone here from Bino. They've got the tank completely on lockdown and not seeing where the defenders are at this point. There's one, so they know they've got the Exo side covered with the C4 in hand. 20 seconds left.
More than likely trying to get this plant down by Animus. A little bit of an angle here from Bomb, but is he able to find anything? Eddie's being held off just for now. Bino taking a lot of damage in that smoke. He's not going to have enough health, but he does. He's
no way.
Right by it on a slither, and he's able to get it off. Vipoa now in the 1v3. So much work he has to do. Even with low health, it doesn't matter. Bino's able to shut him off. Yet again, it's an Nadeshot to the lead, still only by 1.
Yeah, the back and forth battle continues there with Nadeshot winning upstairs, Fundamental answering back, Nadeshot winning downstairs. Now, we're going to answer back, but we got to pause after that first quarter is done. Where are we going to see the bans go at this point? I don't know whether Mozzie was enough of a nuisance to try and ban him out, but Capitao certainly was. And I think Fundamental does not want to have to deal with the fire and the smoke from the Capitao. And he brings along the DMR, even though not generally running it. I think Bino was going crazy with the Capitao in general. So going to make that a little bit more difficult for the attackers. But getting rid of the Cade, it doesn't feel like he was really a significant part of that defense. Just one more obstacle in order to move quickly through the map, and that maybe is the boost that Nadeshot needs.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's Nadeshot's in a very precarious position here on the attack, and I think a majority of teams are, because you don't really have
Attackers
a
need to
choice
locate and
other
defuse
to
bombs.
then do that double breach style ban. Because if you don't, and even if you allow just a Cade up, it is going to make getting those walls open. This map of Labs isn't the biggest, but it is still a relatively huge map, and because of that, there is so much early prep work to do before you even get close to the bomb site to try and get that bomb down as an attacking team. So any chance you're able to remove a couple of those steps from the equation is something that almost all teams do, and in theory should consistently do. Not necessarily be the right answer, but objectively a better one.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, when it comes down to, making those choices about which way you want to go, it could honestly go either way at this point. And man, this is a late round reinforcing coming out here from the Fundamental team. And take a look at Neon Light running the Mozzie, running the P10 Roni, just looking for that spawn peak. Man, that is a dangerous scenario, and takes a little bit of a shot there to slow down the Nadeshot, but honestly, feel like he's lucky he survived that with the gunners on the other side of that site.
Fundamental playing relatively spread out here in this round. It allows them the capability to move around the map very fluidly.
Bomb located
if you
by
notice,
attackers.
for example, Teddy and the player on water stairs. Sure, they are somewhat disconnected, but they're close enough to play off of each other. Bomb also relatively in the vicinity. He's going to rotate back down to the bomb site, though. So it allows for them to move around this map quickly, so Nadeshot isn't able to hold those crosses to catch them off on the rotate, but at the same time, it allows for them to safely apply pressure.
I mean, with a minute 45 left, we're still stacked 10 in the lobby, 5 apiece, everybody left alive. And again, it feels like Nadeshot has really slowed down the pace compared to some of the ones that we've seen. And wow, he's going to pick up that Mozzie drone. As now we're seeing this center shield push as they're making their way down the Exo stairs, looking like they're getting ready for this plant downstairs. I love the Exo style plant, but man, pushing in, it felt slow at first, but now they have made this direct play, and Vipoa still got 2 of those smoke canisters in hand to try and block off the play from the wall. But does he know that Exo is the place that the next big push is coming from?
Teddy inching his way up to Labs. You could do a lot of work here if he just times it correctly. He has to be worried at the player at the bottom of the stairs. There's no vertical on them. So, doesn't look like they're immediately aware. They're just trying to focus on getting this plant down. He tries to do it in the smoke, but there's no way that's going to happen. A nice swing timed out by Teddy, immediately traded by Eddie. Bino backs it up with another one, so now it's just by Poa and HUD in the 2v3. They know where this plant is going down, but they don't have a safe vantage point. HUD trying to retrace the steps that his teammate Teddy did, but you have to be careful. A yellow ping and a Candela to follow. Epic onto by Poa. The LMG on the hip of Bino. Almost nothing that HUD can do here. Epic on the cross on the breach. Finishes it off. He gets, at least for now, 2-round lead.
Yeah, that was a great round from Nadeshot. You know, you said it. They were locked in. They had a counter that felt like everything that Fundamental was doing. Good crosses being held, even though they had a vault prompt. You know, the vault hole into assembly, but. You know what? Good cross being held, and Nadeshot right now just playing a little bit better overall than Fundamental. And so we said, all right, in the basement, Nadeshot needs to, they won round 3. Fundamental needed to answer back with an adaptation. Doesn't happen. Basement gets claimed twice in a row by the Nadeshot team. And man, just all chat warriors going crazy right now. They're going to rotate upstairs to the second floor rather than try their hand at the basement once again, or rotate down to that control storage side. And I don't feel like we're going to see a kitchen defense here because of what's at stake, but I wondered whether or not we were going to see that tertiary site come out.
About to get kicked by NCAA. Calling yourself an NCAA team is probably the best way. Oh man, I love
all chat warriors. Yep.
All chat. Yeah, I think all chat warriors. I love Teddy. He's such a funny, silly guy. And he hasn't had a horrible game. 4-4. He had a pretty huge play last round, even if it didn't result in winning the round. Still, he created a little bit of momentum. He's always been a player that hasn't been known for necessarily winning rounds, but he's been a player that's been able to create momentum to put his team into relatively good places to win.
Yeah, I mean, right place, right time. Finding the gaps and whether or not it's the thing that causes the round to win. You know what? If it gets your team in that right position. But right now, they're behind. Talking about an attacker side of Nighthaven, 3-1 at this point. And Nadeshot is on a bit of a roll. It's 2 in a row for them. And it felt, you know, it didn't feel as close as some of the other rounds have been. Like some of those Packrunner rounds were just so freaking close. Yeah. Came down to the very end. And Nadeshot feels like they're gaining a little bit of momentum as this last best of 1 today plays out. And I know that was in the chat earlier. No other games being played out today. This one was supposed to be played tomorrow. Both of the teams agreed they wanted to get this one over with to prep for their best of 3. So the problem is the rest of the best of 1s are all going to be played tomorrow. So 1 p.m. Eastern, the best of 1s in the quarterfinals are going to be played out, with Nadeshot picking up their best of 3 as it plays out a little bit later in the day, around 2 p.m. tomorrow. So that's what we got on tap. But one more map to finish out today. Currently 3-1 with Fundamental. Struggling a little bit to have anything happen, but look at that.
Yeah.
The bomb. Hey, he's gotten his 2 kills have been 1 with the C4, 1 with the smoke. Nothing with the gun at this point.
Oh my god, both the smoke and then the firing from HUD's Goyo is going to prevent Nadeshot from getting any space, but Eddie, enough space to take the body away from Bomb with the Mossberg. Moves the smoke off the board, gets a 4v4. Teddy hiding in his invisibility cloak as if he's Harry Potter. But for now, he is going to get droned out, pushed back. A really good effort here from Nadeshot to completely push back everybody onto the A bomb site. Nobody inside of servers. So a position where they can potentially get this bomb down. Trying to throw his head, but Epic goes down somewhere into the bomb site. A nice swing from Neon isn't able to get enough shots. Teddy though to finish off Epic.
The fire's gonna push Teddy back into the bomb site.
Oh, another TK!
Bino team Ks though. These team kills have costed Nadeshot so much. Neon onto Eddie. Bino taking a lot of damage, and it's Vipoa to finish it off. Fundamental. After losing 2 rounds in a row, they find one of their own to potentially start to work their way to an even half.
Honestly, what a W play, and Vipoa coming up with the clutch kill again. Putting that, I mean, making this scoreline look significantly closer than it was just a round ago. So Nadeshot struggling a little bit there, but Fundamental answering back. You said it, the TK's costing them, both in this game and in the previous. Now, didn't obviously cost them the win, but you know what? It feels like that's just, I'm okay to shoot you through my teammate if that's what it takes to get us the win. The problem is you've got to win in that scenario.
I really like that now. Fundamental. Out of the entire first half, the very last round, they choose to go to control. Or not control, but stop. I think it's kind of a thing where a lot of teams, after losing, 3 or 4 times, then they will choose to go down to, a tertiary bomb site. But rather waiting to the last round, removing all the sense of comfortability from Nadeshot, trying to give them a completely new playground to play against, and I really like it.
I like it too. Like when you see the teams that start to play comfortable, that start to work together, this is something that can certainly work in their favor. And I love that we're getting to see HUD on the Denari too. Like, let's see more of these trip connectors. I think, honestly, like we said earlier, just very good at shaping some of the battle space, burning util, taking away drone utility, giving some of that information for the players that are coming out. And they're honestly pretty difficult to try and clear out unless you put a specific, effort in trying to clear out those, because they're so small, right? You can't just accidentally clear it. You can't. You have to be more precise with some of these explosives with working the Tritch drone in this case, which that's where Epic's running right now. A good call, clearing out some of this utility, and there it is, looking for combination of the trip connectors and W timing there to be able to get past the trip connector as the defender walked through the line.
That's pretty cool, like microplay there, and they are able to eventually twitch that Denari off, so it's going to remove a little bit of that comfortability for Neon. They also close it off. Fens tries to jump in yet again. Another round where he's first picked off, the 3rd round. His first half where he loses that opening. He's done a little bit of work though with that ramp. Teddy's gonna double it up onto center though. LOL in the chat. Eddie trying to shove that door to have as much time to play this vertical. He finds Neon. Bipolar looking for that head. That's Epic.
So close.
It looks like they're actually going for the plant. Not having control of that vertical is going to allow for them to do this. Bipolar tries to swing in the C4. I thought he shot it.
No way.
But it goes off. A jump down from Eddie. He's able to find HUD. Eddie right behind him. It's Bino in a 1v3. They're going to try to stack up on this bomb. Maybe a run out. But rather no, trying to play the vertical. This is actually a really good read here. Shotgun on Vipoa. You just need to safely get somebody to try and work this diffuser. They're waiting this player on vertical to get on. 1 kill from Bino.
What are they doing?
Take it off. They're just trying to play it, but it's Teddy, the hero, in my story and fundamentals. And he buys his team 3 rounds on the defense.
I honestly thought that Fundamental was going to throw that round. They're sitting in a 3v1, looking like they're trying to just individually peek that window rather than, maybe trying to throw a body at it to put pressure on the exterior side of it, right? Even taking some shots from behind, forcing him to turn his body around, giving you that opportunity to go for the plant. But it worked out in their favor. They did, in fact, not throw that round, and we get a 3-3 half with Fundamental 2 in a row to close out the end of that half. And man, this game has certainly been it feels like it's been lopsided in the Nadeshot's favor, right? They have been playing better overall, it felt like, across the entire first half of this game. But Fundamental has come up with a couple big picks that have turned rounds around and giving them just that little bit of boost. Like, that honestly could have gone Nadeshot's way. Again, they're playing very objective. They've gotten the plant down consistently more than any other team that we've had an opportunity to cast here in the SI Open qualifiers. And they're still not managing to put a significant lead versus this team. And Fundamentals, I know there's a lot of fans in the chat and a group of guys that have been around, played on different teams a long time. And the Pug Stack right now putting up a game against Nadeshot.
Also, one little micro detail that not a lot of people will notice is last time we saw Nadeshot play this defense on Nighthaven Labs just earlier today in the second game, they instead chose to ban, I believe it was 2 hard breach or at least 1 hard breach operators. But because they're playing against a team that they know is more capable to use that aggressive utility, they've rather chosen to ban the Grim and the Deimos. Earlier on, going against a team that more than likely wouldn't have been capable to really use those operators to their full potential, it goes to show that Nadeshot is adapting to who they are playing, understanding their strengths and their weaknesses.
Yeah, we expect that from a team that's been in Pro League playing those spots. And yeah, the Grim Deimos, I think, again, is lends to the fact that Nadeshot wants to play a little bit more roam heavy. They want to play further around the map. They don't want to have to try and deal with the Deimos and the Grim identifying, giving away those positions. It does leave the Thatcher. It leaves the Dokkaebi on board. We're not going to see her this round, but we're going to try and open up this wall. Thatcher is available there. We see one of them go, and wow, look at this. Managed to freeze out that gadget, and now waiting for the trick. They're just watching to make sure he's not going to get shot from down below, and there it is. Man, W play by Thatcher. They're just going to burn util on both sides. The Thatcher charges, the Cade claws, and the two-brow. And what is this? It's just going to go back and forth, back and forth.
We're just stalling here. Like, this is actually hilarious. You're gonna waste all the two-brow canisters. I'm trying to see, he has none in his pocket, and you waste a majority of Ipoa's Thatcher gadgets. That's actually hilarious. I have never seen that before. Just going back and forth, trading util for util, and you've accomplished pretty much nothing. I think they do eventually get that IT wall open. Well, you've wasted half of the round. That is such a funny way to do it.
Yeah, just util burn on either side is wild. Thatcher, Cade, two-brow, Thatcher, Cade, two-brow, Thatcher, Cade, two-brow until all the utilities burned. Like, Thatcher has 0 charges left on his gun. Two-brow has got 0 Zoto canisters left. I mean, they have burned all of that extra utility, so hopefully they don't need it for anything else in this case, because yeah, straight not available. So they look, well, I was gonna say I thought they did not have full control here at the warehouse side, but they do make the push in. They're trying to cover both that wall and the door. I thought maybe we'd see a late round reinforcement come out, but Ace is gonna open that thing up. 40 seconds left, and center is locked in back, close to the chassis, backed up by the Kiva barriers. This is gonna be a tough one for Fundamental to push in.
Yeah, you have nothing to clear this flash. No nades, no ash canisters, a fireboat from Neon, but taking cover behind that Akiba barrier. This actually could be a position where you just find one player. That's all you need, but they look away at the wrong time! Epic going huge, 2 C4s, killing the DMR to make up for it. HUD in the 1v5, Eddie. The pistol on his hip is all he needed. Nice skin to wrap it all up. And it's Fundamentals being absolutely stunted by Nadeshot.
Yeah, and called out at the end of the match there, because I'm pretty sure the Paragon skins are not on the approved list, but we're going to go ahead and leave that up to the teams to decide. And it was a Nadeshot win, so that, you know, there could be we're going to let the admins handle all of that piece of it, but big win there. Nadeshot, 1 round up here again on what has been overall a I can't say a defensive or attacker sided siege, because first half tied up 3-3. If you're seeing one
Attackers
of
need to
these
locate
teams
and defuse
pick
as
up a
many
little
bombs as they
advantage
can.
at this point, Goose, right now, who do you feel like has got the advantage going into round 8?
I think it's Nadeshot. I mean, in all honesty, if you don't have the proper utility to clear that clash, understand they had the firebolt. We also didn't have the proper position. One, they didn't have the proper utility. You had to waste one of those firebolts, but sure, it's fine if you can use it. I preferably, you want an Ash. You want an nade. But, I mean, I think also it's just the positioning. All day, I think all the success, all the problems for Nadeshot all stems from just Nadeshot having the better positioning. And like I spoke about in the very first round, that's just something that comes with that Tier 1 experience.
It's one of those things that not everybody gets a chance to experience, but everybody wants to, right? Certainly the guys that are in this play, they want that Tier 1 experience. They want to be on that save level. Nadeshot is there. They've been there, done that. And I think, yeah, for me, a little bit of an edge given to this team. So I like the fact that we're still getting a chance to see Thatcher not banned out, and it feels like something that you and I talked about is going to change a little bit more with how good the Thatcher is, especially being able to run that DMR on top of it. So Vipo is there, ready, waiting, and see he's got that thing pulled out, just waiting for the rest of the team to get in position to act off the back of that utility.
Is the most I think we've probably seen Thatcher today, aside from, the other matchup here on Labs. And it's been used fine. I mean, again, nothing too crazy, but also Thatcher isn't necessarily a crazy operator. Eddie, though, he's getting a lot of info off that scan from Solus. All he was really seeing was that thermite charge on the wall, and that's something that Bino's going to be able to relay to his team purely off of just hearing it. So right now, it's just a lot of boring work. I don't really like to say that, but something I do love to say and like to see is Fen's winning those entry engagements. He's continuously been on them, struggling a little bit, but here in this round, finding success, getting bombs, terrible so far, 1-7. Yet again, taken out in this round is not going to be able to have an effect whatsoever. It's now up to Teddy, the star player, the hero in our hearts. What can he do? Ben's overextending a little. Teddy gonna punish him for that. Finding a potential, another one, epic. Walking right in the way of the AK-12. He asked for Teddy a hug, but no, Teddy wanted his head.
Man, so good right now. Neon Light taking down Bino 4v2. Man, the defense is really struggling right now, as you've got at least 2 of the fundamental guys are still outside the building, though. They've got first floor control. And got to be looking for center, though. Sitting at 1-6. Not really, I think, where he wanted to be at this point. And it's all down to Eddie. As, man, just as I say his name, he gets fried. Is Eddie pulling off the 1v4 comeback, my friend?
Can he do it? Does he have the utility? Can he get the swing? He gets one onto Teddy. Looking for a second. Vipoa safely getting that bomb down behind that middle pillar. He also gets the kill with it. It continues to be a back and forth run as we find ourselves at 4-4.
Damn, right now, I just got to say, a little hype train going on the other side of the stream, just outside of the game. Very much appreciated for everybody that has contributed. You know what? I'll match a little piece of that. Appreciate everybody being here, sitting at a 4-4 match, the final game of the day on this SI Open qualifier. And, man, still too close to call as Fundamental pulls it off and ties this thing up heading into round 9. Everybody, this is still a best of 1. Only one team can walk away from this one. Even though 2 teams are going to qualify tomorrow, only one of these 2 teams is going to walk away from it today.
And defuse bombs.
Nadeshot yet again. We saw them play this their very
Attackers
last
have
round.
discovered the location of a bomb.
They're bringing it again. Run, I have a question for you.
Let's hear it, brother.
I have a very good question for you.
Okay, okay.
We've seen center have a little bit of difficulty. Literally 1-for-1 with a bomb on the 1 in 7. He is on the Clash. A shield he's had the best. Who do you think gets the next kill first between center and bomb?
Oh, man. God, we're going to cast or curse him right off the board. I mean, if you had to say, right, center is generally playing that support role, right? Whether or not he's just killing time or, you know, killing utility, just wasting some of that, it doesn't feel like he's always that guy that's engaged. Bomb, on the other hand, has absolutely been one of those entry players. He can play very aggressively. We've seen him do it on land before, not just in the server. But center has been there, done that, and playing up against the mobility of the Clash Shield. You know what? If you had to put money on it right now, I'm saying center is the first guy to pick up that kill. But that is honestly a tough call. Bomb could easily pull that off.
I agree. I really do think Bomb theoretically should be in a better position, but at the same time, if this round goes really deep, that utility of the Clash for center is just going to triple. It's going to multiply in how useful it is. So it's up to Nadeshot. Whether or not they can hold off this fundamental attack, maybe get a couple of picks before they retreat down to the bomb site. But so far, especially through these first 2 to 3 rounds on the attack, fundamental, they do not let up off that gas.
No, that's one of the things I've been loving about this team. They're not backing off. They're not worried about playing the pro team. They're answering back with the same level of intensity that Nadeshot started this match out with. And you talked about, you know, putting respect on that team. Yeah, Fundamental has got that respect for them, but they don't fear it right now. They're looking to take that fight directly to this team. And Idle Shell goes down. We talked about that. Dokkaebi, one of the things looking to try and give this Fundamental team knowledge of where the Nadeshot players are at. And yeah, when you're up against also the Scopos here, blocking a little bit of her sightline, and Teddy takes advantage of it.
Teddy Meister going for another one, just Ross Wiggin. Center, he's getting pressure. He's not going to get the kill just for now. It's Neon. He finds another one on the fence. It's Bino and Eddie in a 2v5 Fundamental. Foaming at the teeth for that lead, that 5-4. The 2 teammates, the 2 blue operators left. Bino's able to find one HUD all the way on that hatch. And he can also do a lot of work. 20 seconds on the clock. You can just waste it here, but not if you have Neon in the corner. It's up to Bino now. Bomb with the swing, and he gets the kill before center.
No way!
He buys his team the lead.
Yo, I am so sorry, bro. So sorry. I thought for sure that if I cast or cursed it, it might happen the other way. But you know what? It's exactly. I said center, so of course Bomb picks it up. You know what? I'm sorry, brother. Got to hang out with him for Philly, a legendary guy with him and his brother, and I can't wait to see what he can pull off. It's gonna be the next round. That's what I'm saying now. If I had to put money on it, since I just lost my last one, I'm gonna go double or nothing. He gets it on round 10.
Double or nothing. I like it. You're doubling down. You're not letting off the gas. Something that Fundamental has not been doing. And to be fair, in that round, Nadeshot, I mean, if there was a challenge for, hey, let's give one team 1v1s the most, Nadeshot would win that competition 10 times out of 10. I mean, if there was a textbook way to not play together, that would be it. But at the same time, that pure aggression from Fundamental, especially on a bomb site like Kitchen, you're forced to play isolated. You're trying your best as a defensive team to spread out. Try and cover as much basis around the match or map as possible to then in turn try and deny Fundamental. But that's something that not only Fundamental identified, but they purposely played into it. They understood that there were going to be isolated plays. There might be a roamer here and there. We are not going to let them catch us off because we're going to play into it. We're going to play aggressive. We're going to meet them at the front line. Something I said they needed to do all the way at round 1, and that's what has led them to this one-man advantage, or one-round advantage.
And Fundamental is hanging in here, right? We assumed that this one was going to be close. And I think as soon as we said it, we were talking about it off stream, looking at this Fundamental roster. Felt like they were a little bit slept on because of the name, right? When you're going through, taking a look at the bracket, trying to figure out which teams are going to get covered, and you're like, Fundamental, who is this team? Not a name that we recognize, but man, the names on that roster, absolutely. And they're putting up a good fight right now. So, Nadeshot, right? We talked about it. Maybe save some strats, maybe hide some things, but ultimately at the end of the day, still a best of one that you must win scenario. The stakes for SI couldn't be higher at this point. The best of threes are going to happen tomorrow. Today, still, they've got to win it in. Man, look at this. Thatcher, Cade, Tubrow. Again, we're going to burn utility on that IT wall.
Oh, he got it. He won. Did they have a 2-brow canister? Are they gonna have another one?
No way.
Dude, it is really so funny. I have never seen two operators perfectly counter each other like this. I mean, there is not a better counter. They are literally an equal 1-for-1 bomb. He's made his way inside the D-box. Nadeshot, they might not be aware of this. They are aware that the wall onto the bomb site has been open inside of connector, so they are wary of that. But if Bomb uses his unbeknownst position to his advantage, he could find an early pick.
And I don't think we talked about enough the fact that they ran kitchen and then lost that defensive side. It just really struggles to be one of those defensive powerhouses. So upstairs on this second floor should be the better site for sure. But man, you take a look at all of these orange outlines. They're very heavy focused on the electrical IT side. And there's a huge one coming out, but Fens and Eddie pick up one. Answered back by Neon. 4v3. Nadeshot help now in that power position and puts this Fundamental team on the back foot, looking to tie this thing back up 5-5.
A 3v4, a Maverick hole, but Fens. A nice shot on the head of Neon. 30 seconds, just cut in Bomb. Bomb not even in possession of Bomb. His Bomb's looking for a kill. It's center of the shotgun, the Mossberg, just around the corner of that breach. Almost evades the flashbang, but it's Bomb to find his head, trying to safely get this plant down. HUD in possession, trying to cover him. Bomb with a really nice one on defense, catching him out though. HUD, you have to protect your teammates. You cannot let the swing come through.
What a double!
He
No!
the kills! Are you kidding me? But it's Bomb! The final one onto Epic! It finds Fundamental. Yet again, the player on the last kill, 6-4, 1 round away from sending the relegation team home in this SI qualifier, their last chance. Oh, they take the timeout. That's Aura.
Yeah, you have to. You have to take the time out at this point, get calmed down, get locked in, because Fundamental is not just on match point. They're on match point, map point, and open qualifier number 2 series point. Fundamental is 1 round away from moving on to the semifinals, the best of 3 to qualify for closed quals. And if Nadeshot loses right here on this map, they're done and have to wait until Challenger Series for the next official matches to take place. We're going to have to watch all of SI in that position. And honestly, I've got a lot of money on this team going into Challenger Series because I think that they are the guys that can get it done and earn that Pro League spot back. But right now, Fundamental is just on a little bit of a heater. Again, the vibes have got to be high from that team. It's a collection of guys that have not played together as a team for a long time. This is a pub stack for today, but man, what a game that they have put together. Match point scenario for Fundamental.
I mean, yeah, I not only is there, like,
Attackers need to
obviously
locate and defuse bombs.
the writing's on the wall. There's a skill difference. I don't have to say, like, Nadeshot was playing OXG. Teddy was playing boots. Like, you know, there's a clear difference there. But I mean, this is also a pug stack. This team literally doesn't scrim. They probably have played maybe max 1 ranked game before Quals today, and just playing off of each other. I think that is really what it's about. Taking 5 very talented players, and honestly,
Bomb, Neon, by Poa, HUD. These are all 4 players that have been overlooked, that have not been given an opportunity to play on a relatively big stage, whether it's just simply in a T2 Swiss stage, or now, I guess you could call this a T1 qualifying game. If you're trying to make a TikTok bait video, you could say Teddy beats best T1 team in North America. There you go.
100% in the open qualifier number 2. This is the best T1 team in the open qualifier. There's no question about it. I mean, they were the team to beat. And honestly, they looked like they were bracket blessed. You mentioned that earlier off stream when we were talking about it. They had a hell of a good bracket setup. They didn't have to face some of what looked like the better teams on paper after they won that first match. Fundamental has showed up in a big way here and given us, the fans, the community, the viewers, a hell of a good game. And I hate the fact that only one of these 2 teams can move on because both are great teams.
Yeah, it is literally on the other side of the bracket. It is 4 Element 5 teams or Element 6 teams. Epic shot on to bomb for that opening. Yet again, they're continuing to put Epic and Fens in these opening engagements, and they continue to have, mixed results, some success. Taking bomb off of the board, going huge the last 2 rounds. Hasn't really been able to use any of his boogie drones just yet. So I think it's a lot of utility relatively taken off the board. HUD trying to coat his way with the smoke to potentially find somebody above. Not going for that plant just yet.
Yeah, a little bit of a lull in the action as Fundamental down a guy, having to fight in a 4v5 scenario. Got that main wall open. They go for that plant rushing in, but wow. Playing with behind the smoke of the glass here. This is a strategy that does not feel like it works very successfully in competitive play. But look at this, the bait coming out, using the thermite to try and bait out players, and unfortunately does not connect. And oh wow, Teddy upstairs takes down Eddie. No way, that's a huge pick.
Teddy onto Eddie, and you find another one. Trying to hunt this player, playing the vertical. Could be Fens, who actually rotates back down to Exosuit. So a really big rotate there, just 40 seconds on the clock. Not a whole lot of time to really work with. They do have the case in the pocket of Neon, but they don't have a way to get it down. They don't have enough information on where these last 4 players are either. The clock is starting to tick down. Bino, do you have a vantage point onto these stairs? HUD still holding a long angle with this glass. Looking for a way to potentially get this bomb down. It's Neon inside of Animus, though, taking a lot of shots. Fens with another one. Teddy's able to find one, but it's all up to Neon. He needs to get the plant down, kill 3 people, 3 seconds on the clock. It just doesn't look likely, and it's not going to happen. Nadeshot, they buy themselves just one more round, one more chance to send us to overtime.
They need to be perfect for 2, and they have pulled off 1. And honestly, that was a great round downstairs. Held off this the surging Fundamentals team. Early opening pick, put them down a man, and slowed that whole process down. We're sitting at 1:30, and like no one was moving on the map. It was just sort of a pause in the action. That the timeout buff comes in hard as Nadeshot picks up that win. But you said it, they still have to get 1 more round. Still have to be perfect for 1. To send this thing to overtime. Fundamental still holding on to that match point. Where are we going to do battle? Upstairs on that 2F. And it's gone both ways. We've seen Nadeshot win it. We've seen Fundamental win it. 50-50 this side of the map. Big question in my mind about which way this one goes. If you're a Nadeshot fan, though, you got one answer. It has to be them to send it to OT.
He does have Bino. He's very correct. Bino is a player on Nadeshot LFO. You can see it right there. He's playing smoke right now. Very good observation there from Teddy. It's also really good to see how many hours that these players play, that their eyes still do work. I think eye care is something that's very undervalued in the esports scene. Every tier of it. Doesn't matter if you're playing OCS or if you're playing the grand finals of SI. Take care of your eyes, kids. It is very important.
I appreciate that PSA, man. That is a good call. And right, a little bit of a funny interaction there as Cade tries to Cade Claw Tuber out directly. Yeah, no, that's not going to work, my friends.
I have a question for you.
Let's hear it.
What do you think's gonna happen on IT wall? They have a Ying, they have an Ace. They also have Eddie on the Cade, and then you have Epic on the Tuber. I wonder what's gonna happen over by IT wall. No, they actually brought Hunt on the map.
Yeah, this
Did
time.
he use the map on the wall?
You know what? That's a good question. He's over on the connector side, so it looks like, yeah, they're gonna open up the connector wall first to make sure they can get that thing open. You're gonna see the Ace open that piece up, and now they're gonna move the focus over. So we saw Cade had moved over, tossed the Cade Claw onto that main wall, on the connector wall, but he pulled it off at the last second. So now we're gonna see it happen back and forth. But this time, you said it, HUD and the Mav is the difference maker. He's going to try and put some pressure directly on the Cade here, but no way. Eddie wins that battle in a double! No way!
Yo, no way, but Neon, he tries to find another one. It's not ready for the swing from center. An unofficial 2v3, the C4 enforces bomb. Devin, my king is
What a
ready for it.
collapse.
A 1v4, I was about to say. Really nice play there from the Maverick, but it doesn't matter because Eddie said, oh, that's a hole. I'll use it. And then he finds 2 kills over it. I might think so. It's Devin, center, whatever you want to call him, your king, best shield player in tier 2. I think Ion probably will argue with that. Hopefully, if they win this match, we'll get to see them fight it out and closed.
Dude, what a great day that is going to be. We're shaping up to have an incredible closed qualifier here for SI. I mean, this is like all of the matchups we want to see. T1 versus Tier 2. You rarely get an opportunity to see it because it had been so separated, right? This open qualifier, really felt like the last time was when Packers CL4L team open qualified to the Manchester Major. That was like the last time we really got to see a good T1 versus T2 battle happen. This is it. It is shaping up to be an epic in the last couple years here. And we're going to overtime, my friend. Nadeshot pulled it off dramatically, and that IT wall was just absolute chaos. We're thinking the Mav is going to be the difference maker that allows the offense to shut down the Thatcher Cade Tube circle of life. But ultimately, it was the attackers' undoing as Eddie just fries them with that sniper shot.
You know, though, Run, you know, the theory is, the saying is, if you ever try to interrupt nature, Mother Nature will punish you for it. Mother Nature in that case was Eddie. DCSG just staring at 2 guys. I really like that because, like, I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to be that guy, but you probably should like open up the like top part of the wall. I understand the idea. You got to be more ready. Eddie, he was just in that position. He was ready. He had that dog in him. But again, I think it's that kind of situation where it's just if the players are ready enough, if they can read the situation correctly. If Eddie doesn't hear that Mav, like if they just, you know, maybe, you know, Thatcher and he's not able to, you know, understand or read it, then, you know, that's a kill onto him. But simply because he had the sound cue, he's like, okay, I know exactly what they're trying to do. Let me just aim here and kill them. So again, I think it's kind of a situation where I like the idea, but execution just wasn't there. And that's something that has haunted Fundamental all through this best of 1.
I mean, maybe the timing was just a little bit off, right? If you try and catch Cade in the animation, right, of tossing the claw or pulling it off the wall, right? Like, there's a couple times when he would be vulnerable, but they just sort of mistimed that whole interaction, right? Mav could have caught Cade in a weird spot, but, man, Eddie was just absolutely ready for it. Just a little bit of a miss, and this time around, completely different, as now they've got that IT wall open, no problem. They're going to use the Flores there to clear out utility to make Monty able to walk up those stairs. And I know there's a lot of talk about how good center is on the shields, but you know what, HUD has got he's got some shield credentials behind his name. So the problem is he's got to back it up today, though. And man, we called out center and Bound for struggling to get anything going. Look at that, my friend. Tied up 5-9 apiece on both sides.
Going hand in hand, 1 assist away from Devin tying it up, but fends through the drone hole. That's a huge hit. The Capitao now off the board. Trying to waste these Akiba barriers, but you're also going to be wasting a lot of that ammo. Bomb bringing out his Flores drone. HUD's actually inside the bomb site. He could essentially disconnect the smoke. Tries to find a shot on to Fens, but Eddie with the C4 on the Bipoa. It's now the Monty isolated.
No.
It's a flawless round. Nadeshot leveling up 3 rounds. Completely untraded in a row. And they find themselves a matching series point going into the best of 3. 6-7. 7-6, yeah, 7-6.
Once again, 6-7 is mid and 7-6 clears as Nadeshot pulls out the win, puts them in a position, and yeah, you said it, right, on fire. That is 3 in a row. They pick up 11, 12, and 13 in a row, all while Fundamental was on that match point, and they just could not get it done when it came down to it. We're going to see the switch over around 14 here. Going to see the 2F again, a shocker with how much that site has really been the focus of this game. And the I guess, from a prod side, we know one of the players are going to DC early on in this round. So we're going to have to take a pause. We're going to have to rehost, hopefully write down these numbers, right? You take a look at Eddie and Teddy, both sitting at 15 kills apiece. Just going crazy right now between those guys. And then Center was at that 6-9. He had picked up 1 more over bomb. But, man, Teddy and Eddie, 15 kills apiece. Those are the guys that had absolutely been crushing it.
We're just waiting. We're just, yeah, there we go. There we go. I didn't want to start a point because I knew what was coming. There we go. They're all gone. Bye-bye.
Yep, there's that scoreboard. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. We're going to drop the round, my friend. That's going to be it. But, man, what a great game it has been so far. So, it is not over yet. The game is on pause. Rehost in play. When it came down to it, it's got to be perfect to make sure that there is no problems with the server as we try and finish out and decide who's going to freaking Paris, man.
I mean, it's a question that we're all asking. This is for the best of 3 to qualify for the LCQ, the official closed SUQ, to play against Pro League team. This is it. We need at least 1 more round, potentially 2.
And you know what? I'll go ahead and throw the bracket up one more time. If you were just joining us and didn't hear us get a chance to talk about it earlier, the last team that has qualified that filled in that spot to take on Yippee is Cuz. And I know a couple of those guys are in the chat watching this one happen. The rest of those games playing out tomorrow. So there are 3 best of 1s that are going to happen before those 2 best of 3s to decide who qualifies. So this is the only one that they're going to have at least a little bit of advanced knowledge on. So 1 p.m. tomorrow, right back here on the Siege Double Shot channel, we'll see one of those games. TBD on which one at this point because they're all great. CLB, Karn & Co., Moneyball, Hakiki Mori, right? There is not a bad game on this list, Goose.
No. I mean, those are literally 4 Element 6 teams. So, I mean, you literally cannot complain. CLB, Karn & Co., I don't know if we saw that one. Moneyball and Hakiki Mori, I think we did see that in Swiss. So, I mean, a rematch right there.
Yeah, rematches across the board. I think it shows like we've sort of got a really great set of T3, T2 teams that are right on the cusp, and that means that there is a lot of great talent that is moving up in the ranks for Siege to start filling in those Pro League spots, and we've seen it, right? Teams have already made it to that point, so very much looking forward to which way this one's going to go, but I feel like we take just a little bit of a quick break, right? Grab it, fill that, as Glitter would say, fill your drink up to the tippy top, my friends, because match point scenario, 1 or 2 rounds left to decide who is going to the best of 3 here between Nadeshot and Fundamentals. What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. Man, this is it. We waited a long time for what is potentially a single round to decide it all. Nadeshot 7, Fundamentals 6. 1 round away from that match point scenario, my friend. So 2F, switching it up. Man, who is taking this one?
It's
Attackers
difficult,
need
but
to locate
we
and
saw a
defuse bombs.
3-3 split for both sides, for both teams. And now going into the defensive round, theoretically,
Attackers have located a
historically
bomb.
this map has favored the defense. A lot of the rounds that we saw on the defense for both teams were very close-ended compared to the one we won on the attack. So theoretically, especially going off just the last round we saw Nadeshot win on the defense, this should be a win for Fundamental. But on a bomb site like Server in Control, there is a possibility for a rush.
10
And
seconds
that's
remaining.
something that Fundamental may or may not be ready for. But you have a smoke. You got Vipoa. You also have HUD on the Clash. There is capability to then prevent that.
I mean, balanced across the board and trying to strat and counter strat to try and decide which is the way that it plays out. And man, just the chatting going on still like crazy. So take a look this time. Knowing that the Vigil is on the board, and you and I talked about the Vigil in one of the previous matches when we were watching. I don't know if it was the Packrunners or the Tenko game, but it's like, man, you really need to be at the right place, right time to make the Vigil worth it. And Teddy hoping to catch one of these attackers off guard. He's playing upstairs in Cerberus, though. Everybody right now holding on to the top floor. No roam game. Nobody hiding out down below. Teddy's not pulling off that pulse shoddy play downstairs because now they're run wound away from being eliminated themselves. You can't take any chances at this point. Back on round 1, yeah, you can take those kind of chances.
Fundamental playing very straightforward, something that Nadeshot should be easily able to read, and then it's just about their execution, how they want to adapt and approach this situation. More than likely trying to clear this connector in CC position, get a plant down behind pillar inside of servers. Very stock and standard. But a lot of use there. You have a Clash to worry about, bomb to deny space with his smoke babes in his pocket. And before getting that bomb down, you need to try and specifically clear out this server's position, whether it's getting Teddy, pushing back the defense. You need to do something.
This feels like it's moving a little bit slow for the Nadeshot team, but that really has not been the difference maker. We've seen them collapse on a site and execute in 20 seconds when it looked like it was a complete lost cause. But in this case, Bino is down. That is a huge boost here for the Fundamental team, and Eddie's going to take down 2. Oh no, Eddie and Epic, as he just pads his kill count. Eddie was sitting at 15, just taking it up to 16, and Bino has recovered. What a turn of events that has completely fallen in Nadeshot's favor.
Bomb trying to get out of dodge. He is going to be able to, just for now. I don't know where he's positioned. He swings out, poorly timed by Poa and HUD. What can you do?
Oh, tragic.
By Poa on 1. Bino's getting the bomb down, but Blitz just runs in and knifes him. By Poa in the 1v4. It's not meant to be. It doesn't matter if it takes overtime or a timeout. It is still at the end of the day, Nadeshot can come on top. They make their way to that best of 3, the very first team to do so in this last chance open qualifier.
And W play there from Nadeshot at the end of it. And yeah, we talked about it. It came all the way down to a single round, not exactly a rush, but almost ending that right, just crazy the way that one played out. And, unfortunate for the fundamentals guys. They talked a good game in chat, and they got freaking close to taking down a Pro League team. And the center versus HUD, shield player versus shield player knife at the end of it, I think, was what sealed the deal for this Nadeshot team. So, right, working this new 5-stack, putting up some good numbers, and now they get time to prep and get ready for the best of 3s that are going to happen tomorrow. So plenty of games still to be played out. 1 p.m. here back on the Siege Doubleshot channel, and we'll share all of the other co-streamers that are happening across the board to make sure that if you find that game that you want to watch, it'll be there. But man, what a great day it's been, Goose. I really appreciate you filling in for Glitter when he was unable to cast today. We both appreciate the hell out of you and are happy to have, the Element 6 T2 caster join us here on the SDS channel.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pleasure. And we got 2 overtime games. I mean, just for the first day, you couldn't ask for more. We got more best of 1s and best of 3s tomorrow. It is so exciting.
Yeah, this has been one of my favorite parts of the year, is getting to watch last chance qualifiers. Anybody can pull it off, but ultimately those teams that have got the practice, got the time together, are winning those matches. And Nadeshot, big GGs to them. Overtime was required. Fundamentals, you guys put up a hell of a good game. Now we have to wait and see Challenger League. We're gonna see this Fundamentals team, whether or not it's that 5-stack. But those players are absolutely going to be in the Challenger Series, so cannot wait to see how that plays out when March and April rolls around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a very high skill ceiling for this team, whether it be in the best of 3 tomorrow or potentially making their way back to Pro League. I think they've fixed a lot of the mistakes they had at the tail end of Stage 2, but I mean, there is still definitely work to be done, because you also did go to overtime versus HUD and Teddy. Teddy having a fantastic game. I can't even really talk trash. It sounded like I was, but I mean, he had a fantastic game individually, going huge. I mean, the growth that Teddy's had this year has been just incomprehensible. So again, shout out to him. Shout out to the entire team of Fundamental. They gave a really good run there on Nighthaven Labs.
Yeah, they made it fun to watch at the end of this thing, right? Not a blowout, not a game that was just boring. They kept it in all the way to the end, and Nadeshot just right now a little bit better team when they pulled it off. But we said it. There was a lot of siege coming up on our way, right? Not only at the T2 level, because we're going to get to see all of this, all of the SI Open qualifier closed are going to be taking place in January, but we also have XGS is starting up again in January. All of those qualifier dates announced, and I think there's another couple leagues that are going to be joining the fray as well, mixing in with the Challenger Series. So there's a ton of siege left to be played, and honestly looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think Tier 3, Tier 2 is really where you can see the scene growing. Eventually, every once in a while, you see a player go to T1. It's like, well, where did this guy come from? It's these leagues, these qualifiers. This is where they came from.
That's right. The magic happens here. So appreciate everybody that joined us for the entire weekend. Lots of siege going on. We were up until 4 a.m. Eastern last night, casting the OCE best of 3 qualifier match there, and fun time getting a chance to cover all of NA as well. So we'll be carrying that forward into tomorrow, but happy Saturday to everybody. We're going to close it out for tonight, but once again, thanks to everyone for joining us, sticking with us for a long last chance qualifiers today, and thanks very much, Goose. You're a legend, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it.